This is Grounded, a world where a lawnmower is a titan and a spider is a god.
A lot of skill issues happening right now. Come on, go down, you bum.
Most people just try to survive, but no, not me. I'm going for perfection.
You know me, I got the spicy katana. Don't wanna mess with me. Spicy katana go in your culo.
I have 100 days to grow back to size, but I'm not leaving until I 100% this entire game. Every quest, every collectible, and every secret. If I fail, I get 100 years of bad luck. The clock is ticking. So without further ado, welcome to my 100 days in Grounded, 100% edition.
Before diving headfirst into this game, we set our survival mode to medium, selected my character. Of course I went with Max because Pete looks like a little bit of a dork, and a grown-ass man should never be playing with little girls. And then we named our yard. I called it Kingdom of the Dodo. We then watched this 90s television show. But we're not here for that.
We're here to discover exactly why we're waking up in this briefcase.
Ooh, what's going on? Waking up inside a big-ass box.
Where am I? Are those roots?
Those are indeed roots, and we have been shrunken down to a miniature size.
Honey, I shrunk the kids. We're stuck down here, I guess.
As I exit this ominous root-filled cave place, I notice that there are some large blades of grass and some glowing items on the ground.
Pick up glowing things, that's what we do. If it glows, we pick it up. Wait, what was that?
Signal detected.
Signal? I wonder where it's coming from.
Bro, it's coming from over there, obviously.
I managed to pick up this pebble and figured I could use it to break down one of these large blades of grass.
I'm gonna bash it against this.
It didn't work like I expected it to. So instead, I investigated this field station. It had a computer that said ASL on it. I don't know what that means. I'm sure it's important. We then find a note on the ground called the Spacer Safety Test. It's very important that we pick up all of these notes as we need them to 100% this game. The computer screen wasn't working currently, so we had to look at this resource analyzer. And it does exactly what it says it does. It analyzes resources. I then go ahead and analyze a few resources that we had gathered, which increase our brain power and also unlock a bunch of new crafting recipes. Next, I bump into this weird looking little bug, and of course I have to deal with it.
Oh. Take that, take that, take that, take that, you weevil. Yeah, ew. Give me some meat. Hey, we got meat from that.
I then went to go check out this thing. They call it the Mysterious Machine.
Jump. Bro, see, this is why you chose the black guy. My guy's got leaps. Whoa!
I investigated this mysterious machine and couldn't really figure out what I needed to do right now. So instead, I crafted up this pebblet axe, which I could then use to cut down some of this grass blades. We don't hold this in our inventory, we hold it like a pizza. I guess we're going to use this to build stuff or something, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. I had also crafted myself a spear. This way we could take out some of these weevils so much quicker. I noticed I started feeling a little parched, went over to this pond of water and slurped this nasty water.
Nasty ass water.
We then encountered a red worker ant, so I poked it in the butt with my spear. It ran away like a little bit, which proves that even in this small world, I'm still an apex predator. At this point in time, I still didn't know exactly what I needed to do to investigate this mysterious machine, but I did see these things pointing at it. Went over to them, found this power cord, and then just followed it. Ran into these little annoying lawn mites. They don't seem to like my spear very much, but they're kind of annoying.
Follow this cable into the mysterious cave. Definitely safe.
Yes, following this cable into this cave, it was quite dark. I managed to return into this cave once I had a torch and could actually see, only to run into a dead end filled with these pebbles that I couldn't pass through without a hammer. I gathered up a few resources so that I could finally make this pebblet hammer, return to the cave to crack these pebbles, hoping that this would solve the mystery of the mysterious machine. It did not, but we did find a scabby, another item that we need to be at 100% this game. After all that time in the cave, I discovered that was not the right place for me to figure out this mission. Instead, I built a thing called the Lean-To, which allows me to sleep through the night, completing day 1 in this grounded adventure. We have survived day 1, it is now day 2, and I finally figured out what I needed to do to investigate this mysterious machine.
Showtime. Haha, just like laser tag. Nothing happened. Looks like the other two lasers are blocked.
I had already cleared out one of the lasers earlier, which I didn't realize I had done. And all I needed to do with this one was cut down this grass. I could then activate the machine and we grow big again. There we go. 100 days is over. Psych, it's never as simple as that, is it? Instead, we blew up a random part of that oak tree. Of course, I had to go check out exactly what blew up. I ran over to this spider web, started chopping it down, and then I saw the spider that made the web. I then found another way to make it over to this oak tree safely. But before I investigated the explosion, I used a resource analyzer on this grass plank, and then we could learn all of our building pieces to build our own base. We will get to that eventually, but for now, we're gliding into this pink smoke.
Wow, what have we got here? Oh, okay.
A laboratory?
It was in here that we discovered an underground lab. Seems very sciencey. There was free sap on the wall, so of course I took that, and unlimited water. Some security cameras on the wall that described a hedge. I think this is the location of different labs scattered around the yard. I then stumbled across this robot lying on the ground. His name is Bogle, and he's going to be our great friend for the entire playthrough of this game. He's quite the yapper, and I'm sure what he says is quite important. But for the most part, we just skipped through what he was saying and made our way over to this biometric scanner and placed my handprint down. This then unlocked this ASL computer, where I could access the science shop and a bunch of quests. Found another biometric scanner that led us into this room.
Hey.
Also found a big ass tooth hidden underneath one of these batteries. It requires a hammer, and a better one than we have now. I found a window that I could jump out of, and there was some more raw science, so of course I collected it, and saw this ledge of no return. Of course I was attracted by this raw science, I had to collect it. Then curiosity got the better of me. It looks like this leads to somewhere else. I heard some eerie noises as I was walking through, but continued on.
Go down here. Oh shit! Oh, they're wrecking me. Run, run, run.
These large red soldier ants were pretty deadly. I managed to defeat one of them.
Oh my god, I beat your ass.
But I didn't really want to play around too long, so we just left. We got a lot of work ahead of us before we could complete this 100 days, and there's still a ton to explore. I ended up having to go back into the lab because my quest asked me to go to the ASL terminal again. It was here that I could spend some of the raw science we collected to unlock the smithing station and some cooking ingredients. I had some leftover raw science, so of course I unlocked the multi-story bases. With that being said, it's probably a good time to start building a base. This was a nice flat rock, so I figured it'd be a good place to build and quite tranquil next to the pond. I needed a bunch of grass so I could build some of the foundations for this base, but I soon realized since I have to carry this on my shoulder, the location that I decided to build my base probably wasn't the best suited, since I need a lot of grass for the design I want to build. But there was this other flat rock right next to a whole bunch of grass and still by the water. I figured this place would be perfect, so we got to laying out the blueprint for our base, placing in some of the grass planks, chopping down a bunch of grass around us, and tried our best to avoid this big ass beetle. It would surely wreck us.
Wait, you trying to find my base right now?
Hey, sometimes running a business can get messy real fast, and keeping track of potential customers can be chaos. But my friends at Odoo make this real simple. Well, Odoo is an all-in-one business management platform with all the apps you could possibly need all in one place. Odoo's CRM app allows you to manage all of your new and existing leads instantly. And here's the really cool part. You can start using the CRM app now for free under Odoo's One App Free for Life offer. Let's jump into it and I'll give you a quick demonstration on how the CRM app works and how easy it really is. Okay, we're currently on Odoo's website, and the first thing you're going to want to do is click the Start Now It's Free button. From here, you go down to the CRM in Sales. You'll then be led to this page where it will ask you to fill in a few details. By the way, no card details are required. It's free after all. And just like that, you are in. And with the CRM app, it's so simple to use. You can drag and drop opportunities across the pipeline as they progress. And you can send internal and external messages all from one place, just with a click of a button just here. This was just a quick example, and there's so much more you can do with Odoo's CRM app. So go ahead and take advantage of Odoo's easy to use platform right now by clicking my link in the description and get your one app free for life now. It really helps support this channel. Just go ahead, do it. Thank you, Odoo, for sponsoring this video.
It was beginning to get quite late in the night, and definitely time for us to lay our head down and go to sleep. Day 3, I placed down a workbench so I could craft some items, placed down a roasting spit so I can cook up some of these insects and make them into my food, then also placed down a trail marker so I can find my base. This place is easy to get lost in. And finally, a storage container to store all of my excess loot. Managed to roast up some of the weevil chunks that we had gathered earlier. We had been feeling quite hungry, and this replenishes quite a bit of our hunger levels. I then wanted to get my hands on some thistle needles that you gather from this plant. Along the way, we saw a rather large spider that I wanted to avoid. I made some binocular hands and then I peeped it. This way we can find out a bunch of information about each insect in this game. So that we can 100% this game, I need to peep every single creature in the game. And these are the thistle needles that we needed to gather. We can just climb up this entire little stalk here and gather all the thistle needles. Of course, this was never going to be as simple as I'd hoped.
Nope, little spider. Revenge.
We got chased by another spider. Spider was chasing us, but I really needed some clovers. I guess the clovers are going to have to wait. Anyways, I made it to a resource analyzer and analyzed these thistle needles, as well as the other things that I had gathered that we haven't analyzed yet. I managed to pick up this trinket as well. I don't know exactly how we got it, but it's supposed to add some defense to us, I think. Next, I realized it's probably a good time to get myself some armor. I didn't have enough resources to make a full set of acorn armor, but I made the clover pancho because I had the resources for that.
Oh,
Oh, we get out, boy.
It's not as good defensively, but it's something. Next, I wanted to get myself a bow and arrow, you know, for some ranged attacks. But I need to get myself some gnat fuzz, and I do know you can get some gnat fuzz from this little area here. These tiny little insects, they are gnats. Turns out I need to kill 5 of them for a mission anyway. Managed to climb on top of these clovers here so I could stabby some of these gnats in the face. Gathered everything I needed so I could craft myself a bow, which came at a great time because the bombardier beetle came back to my base and wanted to fight, and I knew that I wasn't going to win hand-to-hand combat. Back. Oh, damn it. I didn't even win the ranged battle. To make it all worse, I forgot to set my new respawn point, so we got to run back to base. Thankfully, the bombardier beetle wasn't here when I arrived back at base, and knowing that I'm very weak, I had to place down a smithing station. This way I can upgrade some of my items. I didn't have enough resources to be able to actually upgrade anything though, and then the bombardier beetle came back. This time I did my best to avoid getting hit again from its ranged attacks. I tried my best, but I didn't die at least. Then I managed to get it weak enough to finally kill it.
Oh my god.
Before this day was over, I extended my floors just a little bit further and discovered I could actually play on this big machine thing. I don't know what it's called. All I could do was make a straight line. I'm sure there's a proper way to do this, but I couldn't figure it out. Day 4, and we discovered a stink bug right near our base. Hopefully it doesn't come and ruin things with its stink butt. I then stumbled across a whole bunch of ants, particularly these big red soldier ants. They were aggressive and quite tough to defeat in this early game, but I managed to kill 3 of them, which completed a quest of ours. Looking through the data tab in the options menu, I realized there's a lot of creatures we are yet to discover, but this is also where I discovered that certain creatures have different weaknesses and resistances. I began making my way over to my next mission, which requires me to find the hedge lab.
Ooh, what's down here?
Along the way, I saw a little tunnel leading down under the ground. As I got a little bit closer, we found some little critters.
Oh shit. Okay, no, we out.
We made it to the hedge where we found some hedge trimmers that led up to another field station. And along our journeys over here, we managed to pick up some new resources that we could analyze. And we increased our brain power level to level 4.
Leveled up. Pebblet dagger. Gill tube.
We then attempted to make our way over to the new hedge lab, collecting a few of these blueberries along the way. These become a rather important resource for us to be able to progress. Now we had to make this fun journey across these hedges and these branches and these zip lines to be able to make it to the hedge lab. We made it over to this scientific facility, but it wasn't the hedge lab we were looking for. It was, though, a very important facility for us to access, because once we pull this lever, we have now unlocked an important tool to our adventure.
Survey scanner is not operational. What is happening right now? Oh, these things now work, huh? Is that exactly what this does?
Moving on, we came into another facility that was not the hedge lab, but it was filled with these little spiders. These areas are basically my childhood dream for a treehouse. They even have the most comfortable bed I've ever seen, so we slept in it. Day 5, waking up from a beautiful sleep, it's time to move on and find this hedge lab. I then went ahead and broke one of these web sacks. This could be a bad idea. And encountered these little spiderlings.
It was a bad idea.
I ziplined my way into different science labs and eventually made it into the hedge lab.
Hedge lab breach.
I then placed my hand on this scanner to try and gain some more access. But of course, it's never that simple. I need to find the password so I could get through. The password to this hedge lab was scattered all around this area. I just had to fight off some mini robots and some mini spiders to find them.
What is this? Oh, that's a molar.
I'm not the smartest cookie in the shed, and I couldn't figure this out right now. I was running around the hedge lab aimlessly with not really achieving anything. And then it hit me.
Bro, I think I figured... Oh. Wait, then how do we input it?
Once my brain actually started working, I figured out that I actually had to pick these pieces of paper up. I found my way outside and fell off this little tree here.
Oh, shit.
I kind of thought that there was no way back up except for starting again over at the other end, so I decided to just walk back to base. We will return back to the hedge lab eventually to finish that, but for now I return back to base to place down some more storage boxes and place all of the loot that I had gathered from the hedge lab. I had also learned some new armor recipes and a new upgraded axe recipe. This was something I wanted to make. I needed to stock up on some resources real quick, so I went back to the oak tree to go and, well, stock up on them. That's when I heard a scary noise.
Holy shit!
I'm pretty sure I'm poisoned or ate something funny.
Holy crap! Holy crap, that thing's massive! I died.
The death was unfortunate, but I had to return to go get all my stuff. I managed to peep the wolf spider to tick that off my list.
Then on day 6, I returned back to my base to store some of the loot that we had previously lost. This time, it's at least safe. I then went ahead and crafted up a new armor piece and placed it on my head. It's the red ant helmet. Red ant armor allows us to carry some more stuff.
Now, how many more can I pick up? I can pick up 8 now.
This definitely comes in handy when we need to build our base. I then relive all of my Tarzan dreams by climbing up the base of this flower
so that I can collect its petals. They might be beautiful, but I need to destroy them. They'll grow back. It's a flower. Later in the night, I was able to make a full set of ant armor. Ain't gonna lie, this samurai looking getup looks pretty good, but can it hold up against this bombardier beetle? Ouch. Well, I guess that answers our question. Once I respawned, it had gone, so we could easily get our stuff back. Then I could somewhat peacefully continue working on our base. Day 7 and we continued chopping down these blades of grass. Then I got told that I'm the grass master. Not the type of grass master most people might think it is. I also had to keep my eye on this stupid beetle. It's getting rather close to my base. I even placed down some of these traps to try and help keep it away. I think it made it angry, and I don't really want to die again, so I had to play this a bit smart. Make sure to use some ranged weapons like my bow and arrow. This was turning out to be a little bit more effective than me trying to run up and bash it in the face. Only problem is, my aim sucks. That made it hard. I managed to get its health down quite a bit, then I decided to just run in and bash it. And this worked just fine. Then we went back to building our home. It was coming together quite nicely if you ask me, but it was getting dark, so it was time once again for my beauty sleep. It's now day 8 and I just knew that I wouldn't be satisfied until our base was complete. So I spent a large chunk of this morning just working on our base and occasionally drinking some yummy pond water. I'd picked up some new resources, so we came over to the resource analyzer and researched them, unlocking some more building pieces. It was pretty close to this clover field, so we collected some clovers while we're here, as we need them for our roof. And I discovered a nifty way to collect some of these flower petals. A bombardier beetle came right by our base, and some of our walls were up with some windows, so I wanted to test this out to see if it would help, kind of protect us. And for the most part, this was working well. But I did notice it was destroying our building, and I had been working hard on this, so I wanted to try and take this fight outside. I'm starting to realize that timing is everything in this game, which is a really fun combat mechanic, and if done correctly, I could do maximum damage with my club. As night fell, I crafted up this cookery so we could make some more tasty bug meat, I guess. Then I added this water container, to contain water. It's now the early morning of day 9, and I placed down this jerky drying machine, and I placed down this jerky rack so it can dry out our bugs and make some long-lasting jerky. I then placed down this garden patch. I wasn't too sure at this time exactly how this thing works, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. Obviously, you can grow stuff. I just don't know exactly how this works. Like, how do you get seeds that are small enough to fit in it, and how do they grow? I don't know. We'll find out. Today is obviously about setting down some of these crafting benches, setting up our base properly, But I've been so busy working on my base that I forgot about water and food. I managed to drink down some water, but we ran over to the big acorn over here, bashed it with my hammer, and ate the little bits. This will help us continue on our journey, and then we can continue finishing our base. We're almost there. All I needed to do was just add these in, and that was the last and final piece. Now, thanks to the camera mode in game, we could get a good look at this base. It's pretty basic, but it's gonna do. Now we could finalize this spinning wheel crafting bench that we use to make some silk rope that we'll use for other things eventually. Then I went ahead and upgraded our acorn face mask. Yes, you can upgrade a lot of your armor here. Eventually, you can upgrade them to have different buffs. This game's actually a lot more in-depth than I thought it was. Day 10, and our friend has respawned and come back to visit. He's a bit of a pain in the butt. We're gonna have to deal with him permanently eventually. I just don't know how. And you're dead, you stupid bug. We had since gathered some new resources that I wanted to go and research, like this mushroom slurry, where we learnt mushroom bricks, this lily pad wax, where we learnt the green machine drink, I think it is, and some of the flower petals that we gathered earlier, where we learnt the bounce web. Sounds like fun, but I don't know if it's practical. You can only research 3 things at a time at those research tents. Thankfully, there's a few of them nearby, so we just traveled to another one and researched other things there, like this berry leather, where we learned a bunch of things, and increased our brain power as well, where we also learned more recipes. Next, we learned the boiling gland from the bombardier beetle, and it wasn't really important what we got. And finally, this mushroom piece, where we learned the mushroom slurry, which we'd already picked up. Yeah, kind of weird, but we got it. I then equipped this gill tube that helps us breathe underwater, and then this underwater dagger thing. With this, we dove deep so we could get a bit of stabby on with these bugs. The water boatmen. More like the water deadmen. My goal was to kill a few of these, gather their fins so we can make fins for ourselves so we can swim faster underwater. Quite the successful trip if you ask me. And then I could craft up these fin flops. We will use them eventually, but for now, it's time for our beauty sleep. Day 11, and some of this bug jerky is ready. I'm sure it's delicious. It's probably not. Then geared up with my brand new fins.
What are
we dove into the water. This time we're on the mission to explore the depths of this pond, and we managed to discover this wedding ring. I'm sure it's valuable, but I'm not planning on dying because of it. We're currently trying to find our way into a laboratory as well.
That looks like the place I want to try and get into.
But throughout our journey, we discovered this big-ass koi fish.
Should I be worried about that? I feel like I should be.
I wasn't sure if I could exactly fight this thing or not, so I went up to try and see if there was a health bar, but there wasn't, so I think we're kind of safe. But the way it's looking at me right now, I was worried it was about to eat me. It was definitely time for us to leave. Then we found this cave-looking place, which is kind of sketchy to go through if you know, are underwater and need oxygen to survive. But hey, there's a T-Rex here. Surprised to see a T-Rex in this game. I'm usually used to it in a different game. Then we saw this, and I believe this is a sunken tooth. We do need it for stuff, but it seems that we have just discovered the pond lab. Now I just need to try and find some oxygen, using the biometric scanner to try and gain access to this place, and hopefully there's some oxygen behind the door. Phew, we made it. How inconvenient. We're thirsty with a big pile of water right here. We drank it, but I don't think we really enjoyed it. Anyways, it seems like for us to be able to progress a little bit further on, we need to gain power to this facility. And in order to do so, we need to reset some breakers. Every one of these labs seem to have some sort of puzzle that we need to figure out. Little bit of a challenge, but I'm sure we can work it out. Managed to find our first breaker and turn the dial. That right there is another breaker, but it's behind this glass, and we need to try and figure out a way to get to it. Ideally before we die. Yep, well that happened. I now know that I'm going to need to carry some water on us at all times, which is why I crafted this dew collector. It collects dew, which turns into water, which we can drink. It's good. Little bit of water in hand, it's time to go and get our stuff back. Surprisingly, it was up on top of the water and not down where we died. So just like that, we could easily head back to the lab and continue on this journey. Psych, I ran out of oxygen again. And yeah, I died. Me and underwater adventures are not really good, but we can't plan on 100%ing this entire game without finishing this lab. I've currently unlocked 2 of these breakers. We just need to find the 3rd one. And it was hidden right around the back here. No, I definitely did not look up a YouTube video on exactly how to find it. I did it all myself. But now we have unlocked a new area. Well, kinda. We can get in through here, and we have to go through one of these doors. Which one? I don't know. I'm guessing it's this one. With some raw science there, we probably haven't been here before. Picked up a few of these goodies to make sure we could 100% this game. Make sure we explore every single nook and cranny. Took a look at this whiteboard, and I'm sure it makes sense to people, but to me, it just looks like a bunch of doodling. And it seems like we need to get through this part, but it's rather dark. Luckily, I have one of these underwater torch thingies. I just need to figure out how to get through. It looks kind of empty, and I couldn't really figure it out. So we went out. I just searched around this lab and searched every door that I could access. Walked around aimlessly for quite a while. I was so lost at this point, I had no idea exactly what to do. So I took a little bit of a nap and decided I'd figure it out tomorrow. Day 12, and it seems like we need to power this power grid control panel thing, and hopefully I can figure out how to actually progress. Well, I figured it out, and it definitely wasn't because of YouTube. Nope, definitely not. Apparently this dark room, you have to swim down. There was a hole in the floor. I didn't know that at the time. Unfortunately, my lantern had run out and I had no way to be able to see. So we're running this blind. If there were little bits of light, I just went towards that. Of course, my oxygen was depleting quickly. And we managed to somewhat survive and get through by some strange miracle. Then we reached this terminal and then turned the lab on. Kinda. There was still one more thing we needed to do, which was located just behind this door. Well, this door. We had to kill some robots, of course. But before moving forward, we needed to hydrate. Thankfully, there was a nice water cooler here with some filtered water, a resource analyzer nearby, and we have a whole lot of new resources that we could analyze. Like the sunken bone, where we unlocked a new dagger and a trident. Water flea meat, where we unlocked some liquid gills, and the koi fish scale, where we unlocked some koi scale armor. As we walked up this ramp, we found these weird Brussels sprout looking things. They're called mussel sprouts. They might be good, I don't know. They look kind of gross if you ask me. Either way, we made it to the end of this lab, got this golden tape, this other duper disc that we're gonna need to 100% this, and managed to reboot this dome. After that big journey through this labyrinth of a laboratory, getting out of it was rather quick and easy, and managed to return back to base with all of our spoils from our journey. With one of these labs now complete, it's time to head back to Burgle. It's important to check in with our little robotic homie every now and then, but ultimately, we needed to turn this thing on. This is the super duper
as in like duplication. That's kind of like the play on words that they're doing here, because you can duplicate items that you can gather or whatever. It just costs raw science. So to test this out, I duplicated some ladybug parts, which gave us a Steam achievement. I don't actually know if that contributes to the 100%, but hey, we got it. Then I spoke to Burgle and gave him the super chip that we got. He talks a lot. Anyways, let's just move on. We now need to actually head back to the hedge lab, since technically we haven't actually completed it yet. Day 13 and we made it back to the hedge lab. This time we definitely plan on finishing this place. I can't avoid it if we plan on 100%ing this game. We had found a few of these password scribbles, but we were missing one more. Finding it was turning out to be quite tricky, but eventually we found it. Now we can log into the terminal. Of course, along the way, checking for any kind of notes that might be lying around, every type of thing that I know that I need to be able to get 100% of everything. We then made it to the computer terminal, typed in the password, which gave us access to this new room where we could locate the super chip.
It is likely that this will be my last log from the hedge lab. Regrettably, the spider infestation has only worsened. Last night, I had a close encounter with a giant brood mother that shook me to my core. Couple that with the strange radio signals I've been receiving, and I no longer think this facility is safe.
We had now successfully completed the hedge lab quest line. Oh, and I finally figured out what this whole milk molar thing was. Look, if you're a veteran of this game, you're probably looking at me earlier going, this guy's an idiot, but now I figured it out, okay? We got there. And if you don't know, with the milk molars that you collect, you come over to the advanced systems library thing, and you can upgrade some of your skills. We gave ourselves some more stamina, since there's a lot of exploration in this game since we're so tiny. Anyways, once again, we returned back to our boy Burgle. We're going to be seeing him a lot in this game, and let him yap on like he always does. Of course, I gave him the chip. Stamina is not only good for exploration, but it's also good for being able to keep up in some of these fights, making sure we can throw more hits when we need to. I remember being extremely scared of these orb weavers, but thanks to our new armor and our new weapon, and my intense blocking skills, the orb weaver becomes light work to us. But ideally, I actually want to take down ladybugs. There's a new ladybug armor set that I want to try and collect, and we need their ladybug parts so we can craft it. As I laid my head down for the night, something strange happened.
Oh, what the
Please don't move and look straight ahead. I promise you won't feel a thing.
It's a go for molecular reduction. Spacer is primed.
Where you are going, all your worries will seem so small.
We wake up the very next morning after that very weird dream, and I just realized we've always had the ladybug chest plate. Maybe we had that earlier, I forget. My bad. Anyways, we need some more berry leather if we want to complete the set. I can at least upgrade the chest plate right now, so we'll do that. But we do need to make a quick stop off back over at the hedge lab, as this is the only place that I know that you can get berry leather. Well, berries that you could turn into leather. And I wanted to make sure I could stock up on as much as possible. I made sure to stay here until our inventory was full, and hopefully we would get enough to be able to complete our ladybug armor set. As I began making my way back to base,
Mosquito ahead!
we ran into a mosquito. I hid underneath this leaf hoping it wouldn't be able to get to me. And this seemed quite effective. But since this is flying, it makes it kind of harder for me to hit too. I'm just gonna have to face it head on. It's a pretty tough enemy because I can't really get a good hit on it. But if I managed to just sustain a couple hits, I was able to kill it. And we got some new items that we had yet to discover, like the mosquito beak. I wonder what it does. Of course, I went straight to the resource analyzer so we could find out. The heel buster from the butt of the mosquito might be good, but the mosquito head, I mean, it's just some cosmetics. When I arrived back at base, I decided this place was getting kind of dark. So I made some of these plant lights to liven the place up a little bit during the night. I then managed to craft up some more ladybug armor, but we'll check it out in the morning. For now, we're going back to sleep, where we went into another crazy dream.
Wait, didn't we already do this cutscene? Oh, there's new cutscenes?
It's a go for molecular reduction.
Body mass readout is an acceptable range. The skin fold degradation is minimal.
Specimen vitals are stable and holding. Looks like we've done it.
Great job, everyone. Let's set up 3 more trials for replication.
Sorry to crash your party. The Defense Department has arrived early to discuss Project Orc. The director needs you to be present at the meeting.
Yeah, I like that.
Not sure what's worse, our director or a 3-hour meeting with the military.
It seems to me like we're finally discovering out how we got shrunk down. Anyways, we got the full set of armor.
Ladybug armor. Bro, we kind of look badass in this. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, before moving on any further, I wanted to set up our future for success. So I came over to the oak tree to place down one of these things. This is a sap collector, so we can kind of get unlimited sap.
Okay, I mean, we can just farm all
But
that.
as we were farming to get all the resources to finish building it, we began to get attacked by this mosquito, which is rather strange. I've never seen mosquitoes in this part of the map before. I think in Grounded, as you progress through the story, the map tends to change a little bit. So different critters will start spawning in different areas and whatnot. Something to certainly look out for in the future. Anyways, we managed to finish building the sap collector and began running back to base. We were hungry, tired, and thirsty. We had also discovered a new recipe for a new weapon.
Oh, we got the needle.
Something I was eager to try out.
Ooh, insect hammer. Insect hammer. We're speaking the language.
Yes, we also learned an insect hammer. It can break different things.
We got a better hammer. We've got the needle.
With the mosquito needle, we could use this shield as well. Before testing out the needle, I wanted to upgrade it a little bit alongside some of my armor pieces since we've been collecting some brittle plating. Then I wanted to go test this weapon out on our little friend, the bombardier beetle that keeps visiting. Now, its attack speed is really fast, and we can defend using our shield, but it doesn't do an awful lot of damage. I can see it being useful, so we'll keep using it for a little bit. Day 16, we wanted to go explore a little bit further than we had before. But as we were running around this rocky place, we spotted a wolf spider. I felt confident with my brand new sword, so I went to go fight it.
God! Poison!
And it poisons us. This kinda is a bad situation. Try my best to avoid dying. But yeah, we died. It was gonna happen. The next time that we ran past here, I made sure to avoid that wolf spider. It really wasn't worth it. We ended up making it to this rather large shovel because I wanted to find this marble, and this new hammer should be able to break it. Which it did, and then we got a brand new resource, sturdy marble shards. What do sturdy marble shards do? Well, I don't remember. I'm sure we'll find out. But first, we're gonna fight this wolf spider again. This time, I'm sure we've got this. It's important to time my blocks, run away when we're dying, heal, block, stab. It's an art form. Except every time we block, it drains our stamina, and this was something I didn't really think about. We were dying. This was not good.
Bro, wolf spiders, how are you supposed to beat these guys?
Indeed, I have no idea how we beat them. It seemed to get stuck in between these blades of grass, so I took this advantage and kept shooting. It eventually leapt into the air and got out. I should have kept running. This was not looking good. These things are really tough, and we're clearly unprepared for this. I planned on heading over to this fuel station to research the marble that we had gathered, but these stink bugs had other plans for us. I had to change over to the gas mask because this was getting really bad. I then got attacked by some lava, and I'm not loving this at all. I then, of course, had to deal with these stink bugs. I could imagine these oversized large bugs stink worse than my dad after Mexican food. Anyways, once again, we found our way over at the hedge lab. I did think I was done here. I guess not. There was a few little bits and pieces that we needed to come across. We found a journal inside this little... I wouldn't call it a cave. I don't know what it is. And then all of this.
This is creepy.
I also needed to venture inside the hedge lab once again. I know, just like me, you're probably sick of it. But apparently there's some milk molars here that I needed to collect. Like this big golden one. And I'm pretty sure there's others around, but we're rushing because we're starting to die from hunger. And this is where I made a vital mistake. Oops, I fell to my death. But hey, we got back to base quickly, and I could show you the mannequins that we made earlier. This was just somewhere where we could store our armor sets. Day 17, and I'm trying to tick off some of the extra things we need to do to be able to 100% this game. So that's why I'm getting my inner Fortnite on and building some stairs up onto this log. We got the blueprint down. Now we just need to fill it in with some of the resources. Do this final staircase, but we don't need to. And then we can access this. The Berg L flag. It gives us a little bit of raw science, and we complete another part of our checklist. Next, after doing a little bit of research, I found a little bit of a cheesy way to be able to defeat the wolf spider. If we come into the oak tree right here,
We come up to this rock and hide in this little crevice. We should be able to shoot these wolf spiders and then they can't get to us. Except my stupid ass used the poison arrows and that was doing damage to me. I also didn't bring enough arrows, so this was kind of a bad idea. In the end, I just tried to run for my life.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Just want to get out here so I can get my bag back eventually. Yep, okay.
Well, at least now we know that that strat works. I just need some more ammo. But I did craft a bunch of these pebblet axes since I can throw them, and I had the resources available. Only thing is, the arrows require some might fuzz that I have none of right now. Thankfully, I know a place to get some. It's right near where we start. It's pretty easy to get. Well, that's assuming I don't die to a ladybug. Day 18, and we're still out here collecting some might fuzz. I don't really want to run out of arrows when I'm fighting these wolf spiders, so I just want to make sure I have enough. I then entered this gas-filled area, something that we're not too familiar with, and we found these infected gnats. They stole my sword when I was trying to kill them. Then an infected lava came by. This thing has more warts on its back than my grandma's feet. Oh, and these infected creatures are a lot tougher.
What the frick?
I'm just gonna return, grab my stuff, and get my ass out of here, and just collect my might fuzz. As I was killing a bunch of these lawn mites, I found this bit of sap. Now, sap is a resource used in a lot of recipes, so I'll try and collect as much as I can whenever I can. Once I got my fill of might fuzz, I came back to base, cooked up some food for my travels, then went to collect some of these thistle needles, as we need them for our arrows. Then I could craft up a whole bunch of them, like 204. It's a lot, but the question remains, will it be enough to be able to defeat the wolf spider? So I enter its lair and hope that it's asleep so I can get into the right position. You see, the wolf spider sometimes sleep during the day. I managed to get into the right position, but I couldn't see it. I had no idea where it was. And then it appeared.
Not too scary. Not like you never killed one before.
And we could let this battle begin. We're not doing an awful lot of damage, but it can't damage us, and that's really all that matters. Then we got the pebble axes out, and they were doing a good chunk of damage. It was just a slower process. Then we could revert back to the arrows, and this we were able to melt its health.
Buddy.
We had successfully defeated our first wolf spider, and we gained some new resources and a new mutation. If I haven't explained it yet, mutations can give you certain buffs, but you can only have a maximum of 3 at a time. This particular mutation gives us massive poison resistance, and against some of these insects in this world, it can be really handy to have. Return back to the resource analyzer with some of this goo that we had gotten, and the wolf spider fangs. Day 19, and I spotted another one of those golden molars right on top of this can right here.
Bust.
I then had a side quest that I needed to complete. I needed to kill 5 of these gnats. Figured it was a pretty simple task that we could finish up real quick. I then needed to make my way inside this red ant hill, which would have been a lot easier if the little pests didn't keep coming out of it. As I was killing some of these ants, we unlocked the Ant Annihilator mutation.
Annihilator. Maybe I need to turn that mutation on while we go in here.
This allows us to do more damage against ants. Although it did help, the ants just kept coming. So inspired by a good old WoW meme, I decided to Leroy Jenkins it and run in, and pray that we could outrun most of these ants. The little ants will mostly ignore me, it's the big soldier ants that will try and attack. We came in here to collect a bunch of raw science, steal some of the baby red ant eggs, and harvest some of this brittle quartzite stone, and some of the marble as well. All of this stuff is good for upgrading some of our equipment. We got a pretty decent haul from today's adventures, so much so I could put some of these ant heads down here. Hopefully they'll keep the ants away, warn them off, you know? Day 20, we soon realized I don't think the ants were very happy that we put their heads on sticks. So to be a cheeky bugger, I placed up another one, but I also had to do this for a little mission we had. I'd picked up a few of these random items in the ant cave, so I went over to go and research them. These rotten bee shoulders. We just got some raw science, we didn't get anything else from it. And these mint shards, where we learnt mint arrows. That's mint. Yay. We also unlocked the next level and learnt the black ant armor. Used the mega milk molar to upgrade our skills, and went hunting for more molars. It's always good to try and make ourselves a little bit more powerful in this strange world. I also wanted to track down one of our backpacks that we lost earlier. Like much earlier. There wasn't anything crazy special in here, but it's good to have it. I also wanted to track down another molar, and this golden one that we definitely didn't look up YouTube tutorials to find. They also forgot to tell us about these stink bugs that would kill us. It's okay though, we got it in the end. This time I just made sure to return with my gas mask on. Moving along, I just followed the edge line of this wall. I wanted to do a little bit more exploring of places I've not seen yet. Had to deal with an annoying mosquito along the way. Then ran into some spider webs in this crack in the wall. It's just an orb weaver. I'm not too worried, but they're hella annoying. And I wasn't exactly wearing the best armor for this, so I switched it out.
The fact that they can stun lock you like this got rather annoying, and it wasn't looking too good for us. I tried to make a run for it. It didn't end up too well for us. Don't worry though, because we're venturing on back. I at least need all the stuff that we'd gathered. I couldn't quite see the spider, so I just zipped through, took down its webs, and wanted to make it over to this milk molar. Where's the spider right now? Who knows? I don't care. I'm just here for this. Yeah, I was hoping to discover something new, but it was getting dark anyway, so it was time to head back to base. That's when we heard this strange noise.
Everyone, we're under attack!
What?
Yeah, turns out your base can get raided by some of the creatures. I had no idea this was a thing until now. A bunch of orb weavers were not happy that we had moved in. I believe this is triggered from killing too many of them out in the wild. It's just proof that we are the alpha male in this game. Assuming we can survive this, that is. And honestly, it wasn't too bad. Hopefully it doesn't get much worse.
Day 21, I made some special pollen arrows so I could shoot down these bees. Surprisingly, they do a bunch of damage. I expected these bees to be a bit tougher than they currently are. Ooh. And we got some new resources from them. Now, since discovering that these bees are pretty easy to take down, I wanted to take down another one that was nearby. Obviously, our next step was to go and research these new resources. Wanted to see what we got. Well, we got a stuffed bee. And the next thing we got was a bee mount. I was kind of hoping for some weapons or armor or something. Either way, we did manage to peep them, so we did add them to the creature card library. By the end of this 100 days, this needs to be full to be able to 100% this game. I then went to go hunt down this wolf spider once again. You see, we're after a particular resource that drops from these guys, but the drop chances in this game is very RNG. So sometimes you need to fight some of these creatures multiple times to get the drop that you're after. This particular time, we got it. It was the spider venom that we're after, which we could research in Burgle's cave here and unlock venom arrows. These will be very handy. I then infused us with some of these milk molars, increasing our arrow stack size and adding another active mutation. We have collected a few now. This could be good for us. Had a good old chatty chat with Burgle. He does enjoy a chat, gave him the sea chip, and then I remembered that there was a molar down in the back of Burgle's cave. Now that we have the hammer that we can finally break this properly, I went to go get it. I then wanted to go and explore a little underwater cave, where I really should have brought an underwater torch. Because yes, we got attacked and our oxygen was depleting rapidly. I was kind of hoping that we'd find an air pocket nearby. We did not. Once respawned, we went to go and have a better look around Burgle's place here. And in this room right here, we found another milk molar. The mega milk molar. I then of course had to try and retrieve my stuff that we had lost. This time making sure I could get myself a slime mold torch that could work underwater. We found this glowing orb thing, and that's a milk molar, but we need to be able to cut through those vines to get through to it. And yes, we were running out of oxygen once again. This was not looking good. Okay, this time when I returned, I make sure to put this breathing apparatus on. Hopefully it would give us more oxygen underwater. This gave us a lot more time underwater, so I raced back to try and get our stuff. It was tricky maneuvering through some of this area, but I also did want to explore to see if we could find anything juicy. This strategy didn't work very well for us at all. I refuse to give up until we get through this entire place. But hey, we did find this scab scheme. And yes, it's another item that we need to collect all of them in this world to be able to 100% this game. I got lost trying to get through this underwater cave system and somehow ended up way back at the start. But I'm pretty sure I've got a good idea on how this cave system works, so we're gonna get through it. We then saw the light at the end of the tunnel with plenty of oxygen remaining. Turns out this just leads all the way out into the pond. Makes sense. We did also see this other scab scheme. I just couldn't figure out a way to get up to it. I'm sure it's rather simple, but I'm super stupid, so we're just going to move on for now. For now, I wanted to try and figure out how to get through this. We need a chopping tool. I'm assuming it's one of those little underwater dagger things. We just don't have it on us currently. It's now day 22 and we came back to the pond lab. I figured I'd come and steal a bunch of these mussel sprouts. I don't know what they do right now, but I'm sure they're going to be important, and this is the only place I know I can get them currently. I then made my way back to base so I could craft up a few of these whetstones and platings so that we could upgrade a few of our items. Next, I went on the hunt for some more milk molars. Found one in the crack of this wall right here. Found some more quartzite so we could upgrade some of our armor and weapons and stuff. I kind of feel like that we're at the stage that we really need to start working on our skills and our armor and stuff. As we progress, things are getting a lot tougher and kicking our butt, and I don't like dying so much. I then venture into this gassy wasteland. We're looking for another lab that we need to explore and complete. There's a whole bunch of infected creatures down here. They're so much more creepy than the normal variants. and some of them explode. We did find this rather creepy spider nest thing. I tried to gain access. This probably isn't a good idea. I don't even know why we're doing this. In real life, I'd never go near this, and I'm way bigger than it. Found a thing called haze fungus. Collected it. We'll research it later. Then this thing, well, it explodes in your face. Not exactly the explosion in my face that I typically enjoy, but hey, yeah, we'll take it. Kept searching around, but it's kind of hard to find your way with all the haze. I mean, we managed to find this field station and a bunch of bugs. Things really started to get a bit hectic, so we had to leave.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I didn't manage to find the haze lab in this trip, but we'll be back. Instead, I found this milk molar sitting at the bottom of this container and a rather large apple that we could chop up. This is kind of gross because obviously someone else has eaten it and we plan on eating it too. I mean, desperate times and all that. Day 23 and we powered up our mosquito needle up until the next level. But the only way to power it up even more is through these different types of globs, and we're not currently at a stage to be able to do that. I then went ahead and made this brat burst. Well, I wanted to, but I need a red ant egg, which I thought I had collected. I don't know, maybe we used it in a different recipe. So once again, we returned to the red ant hive in the search for some red ants. But we saw this.
Oh, it's like a boss.
At the time, I thought that this was like a boss that we had to defeat. So my brainless me decided to go in and try and fight it. As we approached, nothing happened, but there were a lot of eggs around it. I thought I could steal them, but we couldn't. I then went to approach the red ant queen, and apparently I could give it a treat if I wanted to. A juicy mushroom sandwich? This is definitely something we'll have to explore in the future. But for now, we're just after this milk molar and some red ant eggs that I'm sure we picked up. I just couldn't find it in the footage. We're making some moves. I analyzed some more resources.
Yeah, we got the streak. It's level 10. Got the achievement.
We also unlocked some new armor and weapons. On the 24th day of Grounded, my true love gave to me toxic waste that was probably going to kill me. That's kind of crazy. Yes, with our Brot Burst, we have returned to the Haze Lab. And the entrance is right here. And we need to explode it with our grenade. Brot Burst. Thank you, YouTube tutorials, for telling me how to do this. Rather anticlimactic explosion, but we got in. And that's all that matters. Dramatic hand placement. And now we have a whole lab that we need to explore. A lot of these whiteboards have some rather strange stuff on them. I'm sure they're lore accurate, but I have no idea what's going on. And why is their handwriting so bad? They're supposed to be smart scientists. Get better, bro. We ventured on forth, exploring everything that we could find, encountering different labs covered in this icky fungus, and gaining access to new rooms full of more mystery, and more of these weird whiteboards. Again, I made sure to pick up everything that I could see, and then we gained access to this room, where an infected lady beetle wanted to fight. We already know that they can be quite tough to fight, but we defeated this one. I don't think it's the only enemy in this room though, but it definitely feels like we're heading in the right direction. These infected mites kept coming out of everywhere. I had to fight them for quite a while. Very annoying pests. But once we got rid of them, we could gain access to the next room, which we could then get the Haze Super Chip. Which basically means we finished this area, kinda. Now we could just leave, but there was a slight problem. I kept getting lost. These places are like big labyrinths and mazes. I get confused a lot. I eventually found this lab entrance that I could recognize and finally get out of here. After exiting the haze, I realized we were in an area that I had yet to explore. I wanted to go and see what else I could find around here. Discovered this hose line that seemed to lead nowhere currently, except up to the sandbox, but I don't think this will let us get up there. We then ran into a bunch of black ants. They seem kind of harmless right now. And I knew that they were going to be in the game eventually because we'd seen that we had unlocked black ant armor and weapons and stuff. So of course I wanted to kill them and try and harvest their bodies for armor and whatever. These little fellas were a little bit tougher than the red ants. And they just kept coming. We eventually managed to finish off the last one. And we did gather a whole bunch of ant parts. Moving on, we found some more quartzite and a stinky ass hot dog. It looks like it fell out of this cooler. We did find this fresh mint, so hopefully this will make the place smell better. I could crush it and then take the stuff for resources, and it looks like this is the stuff that I need to be able to upgrade my weapons to a different level. After further exploration, we found this. It's the roly-poly bug, or in this game they call it the sickly roly-poly. I don't know if fighting it was a great idea, but it seems like our club is way more effective than our little needle sword, and we were able to defeat it and did not die. That is good. Day 25, we went to go and analyze these new black ant parts that we'd gathered. Didn't unlock anything too crazy. We did get a termite axe from this goo that we'd gathered, and the roly-poly parts, well, they gave us a bunch of new armor sets. I'm excited to try out some new armor and some new weapons eventually. But for now, we have to hand this super chip into Burgle, and we gained a whole bunch of raw science. I could then analyze this other black ant part, and we got a little black helm. Not sure what that is, but I'm sure we'll find out eventually. Moving on, we came back to the hedge lab. I know, you guys might be sick of this place too, but we are here for one important reason: to come and visit this frisbee with all these spider sacks around it. Because if we follow this branch all the way up here and enter this spider cave, we would then discover this spider lair. This is where we can do a boss fight, the broodmother to be exact. But we need to be able to make this broodmother BLT before we can summon it in. We're not quite there yet, but we're definitely working towards it. Not gonna lie, kind of scared to fight a large spider. It's the early morning of day 26 now, technically. So we're heading back to base. And it's dark time, so it's time for a little nap, where we went into yet another cutscene. Looks like they've shrunk us down, these big scientist people.
Director, Schmechter, these specimens are the breakthrough we've been looking for, just like you predicted. We're close to eliminating the raising problem. Our team was up all night recalibrating the spacer.
I see. Of course, my hypothesis was correct. I hope all of you remember this moment the next time you question my methods. Now then, what progress has been made on covalent space expansion? How did Dr. Wendell Tully, a lifetime failure, best the brightest minds at Ominent?
Anyways, after another one of those trippy dreams, we're back up trying to complete this challenge. I had to come and claim this burgle flag, which was right next to this cave that we found. I need to blow it up to be able to get in. Now the real mystery is what is inside this cave. I really should have brought a torch, but I didn't expect to go cave diving in this run. We did manage to find this field station though.
I'm feeling more sciencey already.
And I saw the hammer icon pop up on my screen, so I figured I could break something and get something. Somehow I ended up swimming in the water, and we found another milk molar glowy thing. But we couldn't get into it right now, so we continued on our journey. I was just relying on icons appearing on my screen to just lead the way. And then we walked into a nest of lava. Then we found our way outside of this cave. Not knowing exactly where we were, I quickly checked the map. Okay, I've got a good idea of where we are now. And we were somewhat close to the hedge lab again. So we came over here. I needed to do something. What is that thing exactly? Well, come right here to this bird pool pond thingy on top of this thing. I don't know what it is. Where there were some of these blood-sucking mosquitoes. Now you might be wondering, why exactly are we here? Well, if it isn't obvious right now, we're just going for a nice refreshing dip in this water. Not really, we're here to get this burgle flag. I attempted to make my way all the way back to base, but ran into a big ass wolf spider. We're much stronger than we had been before, so I figured I could take this guy on. There's a little bit of a strategy you can do to be able to defeat this guy. You wait for it to attack and block with your shield, and then go into attack yourself. Now this strategy would normally work if you had a strong enough weapon to actually do decent amount of damage. I did not. So unfortunately, we died. Hey, at least we got to get back to base quickly and have a nice little nap. Went and grabbed my stuff and came to visit that wolf spider once again. I'm sure I can defeat this guy. One thing that I really enjoy about Grounded is the combat and the fact that there's a skill aspect to it as well. Timing your attacks can really change the outcome of any fight. We had done tons of damage and it seemed like we were about to win. Unfortunately, the poison effect was starting to do some damage to me. My shield broke and my sword was about to as well. This was the end of us. After respawning, it was time to repair all of my stuff. And then I made this black ant shield. It's a little bit better than our weevil shield.
Oh, I can.
Looks better too. I then made a few of these green machine smoothies that will give us a health bonus as well. Because yes, I'm going to fight the wolf spider again. But along the way, we found this mint container. Took me a while to figure out how to actually open it, but we got in and collected all of these mints. We will eventually be able to turn these into upgrades for our weapons. This time trying a different tactic. First, I'm going to hit it with my club since it does more damage typically. This wasn't as effective as I had hoped since we got poisoned straight off the rip, and it didn't do as much damage as I had hoped. But me and the spider started to tango. I started finally understanding its rhythms and its attack patterns. The only issue I started facing mostly was our stamina. So I had to release our block every now and then, regain stamina, and then get back into the fight. Famous last words. These fights can be intense, but we're getting through them. And we managed to finish off this wolf spider without cheesing it. Managed to get some valuable resources. Once I was home and safe, I added this trinket to our trinket slot. I added the sturdy shell.
It's supposed to give us like an extra buff. Sometimes you need to swap out armor sets and trinkets depending on the type of enemy you're facing. Day 28, we did some work around our base. I crafted these pallets so we could store some of our goods, and this flag so we can find our base on the map at any time. These pallets are a good way to be able to store some of these extra blades of grass and like the wood and stuff that we need. And by using our ant armor, we can carry heaps more than we normally could. I just wanted to stock up. You never know what we're going to need it for later. Day 29, and we're venturing onto a new part of this garden. And to get there, we need to climb up this crack in the wall. We can now gain access to it since we can now make these grenades. This area up here is called the upper yard. Well, it's a little bit further up there. We're just in like the middle ground. We found a barbecue, so I went to go investigate. A hamburger would be nice. Right, as we approached these hot coals, we started burning up.
Sizzling. How do I not sizzle?
And then we got chased down by this ladybird lava. It's similar to the other lavas that we faced down in the other yard, but the ladybird version. I don't know what that means. Found another one and made sure I peeped it. Thanks for letting me look at you, little fella. Now you need to die. Nearby, we spotted a roly-poly. We had fought that sickly one earlier, so I assume that this one's a little bit tougher. It's also recommended that you use a club to be able to fight these things. And the club seemed to work, even when I was riding its back. Seemed to be an effective way to be able to take this thing out. Until it does that.
I mean, if that worked, it would be cool.
I arrived back to base and tried to find a way to be able to survive in the sizzling barbecue.
Sizzle? Okay, right. So we're going to use a sizzling protection here. Mixed with eating the mint shard should cool us off. Enough so we can get to the thing to make it, right?
With those little extra buffs, I wanted to try and see if this would work. I even knew that I could use these mint shards to help cool us down as well, and give us a slight buff in this sizzling arid environment. As I approached though, the sizzling started happening. I wanted to try and crack this thing right here. Our health was draining rapidly. I managed to pick up one little piece, tried to escape, and we just got out of there before we died. I wanted to go back for seconds, but I couldn't spot one of those rocks to crush. And I probably shouldn't push my luck anymore.
Need one?
Managed to spot this golden molar, so that's a win. Although it's right next to a wolf spider. Spotted another one of those rock thingies, but our buff had worn off from earlier. So instead, I went to go fight this roly-poly. Every one of these larger, bigger creatures with the health bar at the top has a different set of attacks, and you can kind of learn how it works as you play. I don't mind just going headfirst in and trying to learn how it works. If we die, we die. It's a game. We can be respawned. But once you get the hang of it, you start defeating some of these guys a little easier than the previous time. Just like this. There was a field station nearby, so of course, with all the new resources that we had gathered and all the new items that we got from the bugs, well, we analyzed them. And with the roly-poly, we got some new armor pieces. I assume they're going to be pretty tough. Now this charcoal evergreen thingy that we got other stuff that I'm sure is good, but I don't know what it is. We'll figure it out. We leveled up and then we unlocked the antlion armor set. Now this is a crucial armor set for us to be able to progress further, but you'll see how it works later. With a bunch of our raw science that we had earned, I unlocked some more of these building pieces from the science shop. Some of the stuff is just cosmetic, but some of the stuff could be useful. I then stumbled across this.
Ooh, the mini-man dead.
Not wanting to turn out like that skeleton, it was time to head on back to base. Psych, we turned out like the skeleton. I then found a cave. And you know me, I like exploring long, dark holes. I mean caves. And this dark, long cave is full of these ladybird lavas. And I didn't really feel like fighting them because, well, this amount of them, I was probably going to lose. I just kept running for my life and made my way out of that cave. Day 30, we're back in the lower yard. But this time, we're trying to head on over to the sand pit. After a little bit of research, I found out that going to the upper yard, well, we're not quite ready for it just yet. And if I want to get myself an antlion set, which I'm going to need, well, I'm going to have to find some antlions. Now, to get there, I need to travel up this shovel and then onto this park bench. Climb over this rotten banana, walk in this direction, and fall through the crack.
Oh, no way.
Well, yeah, I wasn't quite prepared for that. I guess that was a lesson learned. Before heading back up there again, I wanted to chop down one of these dandelions. This way we can use this and glide back to the ground, just in case we fall down again. I've reached the tippy top of the shovel and wanted to survey the area to try and figure out how exactly I'm going to tackle this obstacle. Did I figure it out? Hell no, I'm just going to have to wing it and see. But if there was a path that led somewhere else, well, I just followed it.
Keep that pointy death spear away from me.
Of course I'd aggro these bees. Gonna have to deal with them if I want to progress any further. And hope that I don't fall off the edge again. Like this.
Well, guess it's lucky I brought the dandelion. All right, third time's a charm. Hopefully this time we can make it a little further than we did last time. Luckily, we got to the place where the bees were previously, and there were none here. Walked up this tilted book. Come up to this thing. Bash this red button, which pushed this cooler handle down, and then we could climb up this. From up here, I could get a good look at the yard.
Look up there, the garden, push by.
And see exactly where we plan on heading to later. We then finally made it up to the top of the table. Found this paper plate and this little shard on the ground. And of course, with all this food around, the ants will be close. We did manage to find this field station nestled right under this book and discovered this folder that we need to 100%. Then while I was here, I figured I'd analyze this salt shard. Unlock some new arrows. Now there's an interesting place on this tabletop. It's a castle on a park bench table. I give it to the devs. It's quite creative to put a castle in here. Well, it's not really a castle. They call it the Minotaur's Maze. And I think it's like a Dungeons and Dragons board game thing. Either way, it's pretty neat. There's a big dice and a treasure chest that seems to have a super chip in it. How do we get into the treasure chest? Well, we need a Minotaur maze key. How do I get that? I have no idea. We will figure it out eventually, but for now, we're on a different mission. We need to propel down this line here so we can get over to the sandbox in the distance. There's no line here currently, but we can place one down, and then we can get across. Zooming on in as if we are another character from Mission Impossible. Now, it's in this sandpit that we can find antlions that we can use to be able to make the antlion armor set. And it looks like we found one right here. I wanted to peep it to see exactly what I should use to be able to defeat it. And it has resistances against chopping, fresh, and spicy, so we should be fine with our little needle thingy and some arrows. Our arrows did quite a bit of damage, so that's a good thing. But I just needed to charge in and get the job done. Only thing is, this is the first time I've fought them, so I'm not familiar with their attack patterns. So I just YOLO'd it. And somehow managed to defeat it. Securing a few of these antlion parts, but I know it's not going to be enough to make a full set, so I guess we're going to have to continue fighting some more. I managed to figure out their attack patterns and use that to my advantage. So with that, I continued fighting these guys and try and collect as many of these antlion parts as I could. I eventually went down on into the sand pit. Wanted to explore this place. See what else we could find here. I would eventually encounter a few more of these antlions that would appear from under the sand. And I don't feel like fighting them right now. I wanted to research the new pincers. I was kind of hoping to unlock something. Maybe this will give us something. And it did, but just some more cosmetics. And finally, just some more brain power. They seem to have followed me all the way over to the field station, so we're gonna have to deal with them. It's okay though, we still need a lot of their body parts if we want to make the antlion armor anyways. We did find this cream and chocolate cookie. Or Oreo in some places of the world, but not in this game for copyright issues, obviously. This is actually called a cookie sandwich. Further exploring through the sand pit, we came across this divot in the ground where another antlion would breach from underground and throw other ants at me. It seemed like it wouldn't come out and try to attack me, so I just shot it with our bow and arrow. As long as I kept moving around, ducking and weaving, it couldn't hit me, and I could just stand here shooting down at it. I eventually got used to its timing of its throws, so I managed to dodge most of them and then kill it. I realized that it opened up an entrance to a cave. Of course, I had to go investigate. And inside of it, we had a treasure trove of candies. These were spicy candies. Similar to the mints, you can use it to upgrade some of your weapons and armor to get special attributes. Picked up some mints as well. The sun was starting to rise on this day, and then we could have a better look of the sandbox. And we found this little anthill and another cave. I could hear some ants scurrying along, so I went down to investigate. And it's down here that we found another lab, the Black Anthill Lab. I didn't even know this place was here until now, but since we're here, we might as well try and run through it. Trying to gain access to the lab was turning out to be quite difficult. All of the doors were all locked, so I figured I'd just follow this wire and see where it led. Found another place that we might be able to enter. Of course, it was guarded by this black soldier ant. But once again, we couldn't get through the door. It was locked. Found a big ass rock that we could explode, which led through a different path to a milk molar. Not access to the lab. We eventually found one door with a green light on it, which means we can go in it. I was hoping to find something juicy here. Instead, we found this tape. And another door that just led back outside. This wasn't helpful at all. I was definitely starting to get quite confused. I couldn't really figure this out. Some of the doors were locked, and we needed to try and figure out how to get through them. Found this little passageway, so I just followed it. And that's where we found the Black Ant Queen.
give you like a
Similar
treat.
to the red ant queen, you need to give it a treat and then it will do stuff, I guess. But it still didn't give us any answers on how we can actually get inside this lab. So we just continue looking.
Clearly not supposed to be here.
Found our way all the way back at the start. And then we found this rock that needs to be blown up. Is this the key to entering this place? It definitely seems like it. There was a biometric scanner that we could use to get through to this other door.
We were fully on our way out. And we realized exactly what we need to do.
That led us to a computer that seemed to unlock other doors that were locked previously. Of course, I continued searching around this place, making sure to find any of these little trinkets that I need to pick up. Again, so we can 100% this game. But then we came across more locked doors. I eventually exited through this hole in the ground, and this was the door that unlocked, which led us into, well, this place. And we found the recipe for the poison gun sandwich that we can give to the Black Ant Queen.
Falling down into places usually means there's no return.
I guess we're gonna have to fall down and find out what's in here. Finally gained access to the lab.
It's orange. Give me that science.
I woke up from my slumber in this lab and continued exploring, and then we found another room that would unlock the B doors. Finally, we're making some sort of progress. Immediately, I ran through the anthill cave, found one of them notoriously locked B doors, and entered it. Fortunately, found a milk molar. Continued traveling, working our way through this maze, only to find ourselves at a place we had already been. Yes, we're basically back at the starting location, the lab place with the hole in the floor. That's okay though, we did find another door that we need to go through, and that's when we entered this place. Doesn't look like much now, but once we press this button and open it up, it somewhat makes sense. Thing is, the only way for us to progress any further is for us to be able to blow up this glass. The only problem is, I'm fresh out of grenades. So for now, I'm gonna have to skedaddle out of this cave and head back to base. Only for us to discover that being out on this hot sand, well, it sizzles us. I ate some of the cool mints and then I rushed for the shade, and this seemed to help. Glided my way back down to earth and got my butt back to base. We had a lot of loot and a lot of damaged armor and weapons anyway, so this was probably a good trip anyway. I did manage to see that we can now make a black ant shovel and a bunch of other different weapons. Before heading back to the Black Ant Hill, I wanted to gather a bunch of resources, stock up on some of the basics. I then crafted a full set of antlion armor and placed it on a brand new mannequin that we had made. Day 33, I learned a new thing, so I wanted to test it out. These plant slurries and the spoiled meat slurry, I can throw them on the ground and it should attract these little amphid things. They're like small little fleas. When I went back to go check it,
Oh, it does work.
this way we can get some meat with very little effort, and my good old Fortnite skills will now come in handy. We're back at the sandbox, and I just built some stairs all the way up until the top of the sandbox. There were plenty of blades of grass around, so it wasn't too hard to gather all the resources, and we could just use this as a way to get back up without having to go over to the picnic table again. And this worked perfectly. Unfortunately, there's no easy solution on getting rid of these ant lions. I really wasn't trying to fight these guys. I just needed to get up here and try and get back to the anthill place. Yeah, I died. And on that, my helmet broke. It's okay, it's a pretty easy fix. Then I came back to the sandbox, and our staircase made it so much more convenient to get back up. Just gotta deal with these stupid antlions again. After working our way through a few antlions, we made our way back to the anthill lab. Except on my way down, yes, we ran into an antlion. I just ignored it and kept running. It's after midnight right now, so it's definitely past our bedtime. But we made it back to this glass with one of our Brumbleghast things.
Oh, what happened there?
That seemed to go through it like magic. We then made it inside, and then I went to go press this button.
Intruder alert! I'm the intruder! Yeah, terminate the assistant manager.
This then initiated a boss fight. Not this little guy, the guy behind him. We need to destroy this dude. This is our first ever kind of boss fight. There's plenty of boss fights that will come along, but this guy needs to go first. Yeah, there's a multitude of different phases that happen in this fight. We obviously need to avoid getting hit by those lasers. Hopefully this protects us. And it did.
Yeah, your lasers ain't gonna get me, punk! Oh, I think it got me. I actually think it got me. Oh, crap. Okay, this last phase is hard.
As this boss's health depleted, the phases kept getting more difficult.
Ow. Send it, send it, send it. Don't let him do nothing.
And even though it looked like we were about to defeat it because its health was so low, it just got way harder.
Not a great time to be hungry right now, bro. Are you really thinking about food right now? Do we got anything to eat? We ain't got nothing to eat, bro. This is it.
Okay, the lasers can turn off now. We beat your ass. Can I speak to your manager, please? After that intense battle, we were definitely very hungry, but we just need to keep pushing on because we got what we came for. The Black Ant Super Chip. We did enter a room that had this here. It looks like we need to do something in order to gain access to this other room. I just don't know what that is just yet. Anyways, we had come here, conquered, it's time to move on. Found our way to the exit and got out. I wasn't exactly sure where we had exited until we saw this, the sickly roly-poly and all this trash. We were out here anyways, so I went to go and explore this trash pile. With our gas mask on, we went further in because I'm pretty sure the stinky stuff will damage us.
Gross. You just drunk a liquid out of a trash can.
Oh yeah, we did that too. That is gross. But you do what you need to do in order to survive. And we don't judge. After all, we managed to get a gold milk molar. We had done enough at the trash can, so it's time to move on. Discovered some gum that was stuck in this footprint. Used my shovel to extract whatever was in it.
Wow. There's a freaking tooth underneath this. Milk molar.
By now, you'll kind of know the routine. We went back to go see Burgle and hand in the super chip. He yapped on about what I'm sure is important to the lore of the story, and then we moved on. I visited the ASL wires here and then unlocked some more new things.
Oh, that's cheap.
And since we had handed in the super chip, we had now got access to the Black Anthill chip stuff. We didn't get anything just now, but we did get these brittle upgrades, perfect for our armor or weapons. I forget which one. Arriving at my base, I wanted to check out these new things that we'd unlocked. They're like ingots of some sort that we can use to upgrade our stuff, particularly our weapons, which we can give them different like elemental buffs, depending if it's spicy or chill or other stuff. Next, I upgraded our antlion armor, put on this fresh new Mexican fit, and made my way up to the upper yard, only to find the wolf spiders out and about. But this antlion set, mixed with eating some of these chilled minties, should allow us to enter into this hot pit and collect this charcoal. We need to collect a whole bunch of this stuff so we can go back and create an oven. And in that oven, we'll be able to make some of those blobs that we saw earlier. I'm pretty sure that we had gathered enough, so we head back to base, and then we craft the oven. Now we can craft up any of these things. Like, I'm going to start with some mushroom bricks. We'll do the mighty glob later. Whilst the mushroom bricks cook up, we go to sleep and go into another one of these dreams.
All tucked in with the outfits and backpacks they were snatched in. As requested, they're strapped and synced with scabbies for whatever they might run into down there. You do realize the director will have our heads if he finds out we're removing company property?
Can you sleep at night with what this company's doing? We need to do something.
Is Dr. Tully even alive? The field team reported him missing months ago. You are prolonging the inevitable.
Wendell, wherever he is the only hope for these kids. I'll make the delivery to his yard discreetly. No one is even going to know.
I hope you know what you're doing.
These dreams are starting to get quite wild. Anyways, I started making some mighty globs, gathered some of the mushroom bricks out of the oven, and made our way over to the research analyzer to analyze the mushroom bricks.
Yeah, we got mushroom building pieces.
Yes, we do indeed now have mushroom building pieces. These walls are going to be much more stronger and tougher against the raids that come and attack our base. And they kind of look better too.
You can build like a whole ass castle?
So yes, we are going to work towards building a base out of that, which means we're going to have to get our hands on a lot of mushroom pieces. Thankfully, there's a few around our base. I also think it's about time that we get a better weapon and a better axe, which means we need to come back to the sandbox and kill some antlions for their parts. Stumbled across this other sandbox lab outpost as well. And we found a Burgle chip, amongst a bunch of other things. Before heading back to base though, we still needed to get these parts, specifically the antlion pincers. And because of the RNG, we don't seem to get them that easily. We do manage to get him out of this one. Day 36, and no, I did not make myself a weapon. I had a little bit of an idea that I wanted to try out. I figured to be able to get back up to the upper yard a little bit easier, I just built some stairs. And honestly, this seems to be quite effective. And now I don't have to hike all the way over to the other part of the yard just to get up here. We made it up to the first part that we'd been to before, but I wanted to build stairs up to the next part. I honestly don't know why I never did this any earlier. This works great. And now we had made it to the final stage, the upper yard, like the big upper yard. And it's up here that we would discover some new bugs, like this one right here. It's called the ladybird. It's just a bigger beetle and it's a bit tougher. There were two of them and my little stabby knife isn't going to be good against them, so we're going to move on. Where I travel over to this tape cassette right next to this bike and discover that I could use this to be able to climb up. kinda. We made it up to the porch connected to the shed, but ultimately I wasn't too sure if we should be here right now. So I left to do some more exploring around the upper yard. We came over to the top part of the barbecue. We hadn't yet come up here before because we had to travel through the hot coals to get here, but we could get around here from coming up to the upper yard. I then got attacked by this ladybird lava and died. I did want to hang out back in the upper yard a little bit more, so I changed into my antlion armor and ran back to go get my stuff. And with my antlion armor, I could enter into here, I think. We're just exploring. We're trying to see what we can get in here. Moving on, we found the Grand Canyon of the backyard. Yes, curiosity did get the best of me, so we're going to have to find out what's inside here. And these little critters are called dust mites, and they seem to puff up a lot of dust, like, I guess. I wasn't too worried about the dust mites, but these ladybird larvas, well, they're a pain in the butt. They also deal sizzling damage to you as well, which ultimately killed me again. The following day, I've decided we need to build a new base in the upper yard. But where is the best location to build? There's so much of this upper yard that we are yet to explore, and we're gonna need to decide on where exactly to build. But first, I want to go and get all of my stuff back. Of course, I got distracted and decided to fight a ladybird. Wanted to see how much tougher they are compared to the little birds down below. I assume this is the final evolution of the ladybird larvas. I'm no insect biologist, but it's just an assumption. They do die peacefully though, unlike their annoying counterparts, the ladybird larvas. Look, I get distracted a lot. We're in the Grand Canyon of the upper yard again, so we just continued exploring around, killing dust mites, getting my grubby hands on this raw science, and harvesting this salt. Okay, we're back on the hunt to find a good base location. Just kind of following this wall a little bit because it seems like the safest spot. We did spot this massive black ox beetle, and it's a tier 3 enemy, which makes me kind of scared of it. I did stumble across this fire worker ant. This is the third type of ant that we found in this game. Of course, I had to end its life and collect its parts. As we continue on, we found the remains of my YouTube channel.
What is this? Like a dead cat or something?
Coming up to the upper yard really shows how much there is more to explore in this game. Tons of reskinned bugs that are just the same as what we saw in the lower yard, but they're just more stronger, and a bunch of new resources that we can collect. Day 38, I was minding my own business near base, collecting some resources when this happened.
Oh, about to get raided. Lava.
We were now about to get raided by ladybird larvas. Quite the inconvenient time, but we need to deal with these pests. A couple of the little larvas came by as well, and they break our armor. But ultimately, this raid wasn't too bad.
Booyah.
And we managed to finish them off. Then I could get back to collecting a bunch more resources. Day 39, we're gathering up all the resources we need to be able to move bases and start our new base. We do have a nice little collection going, but my next build is going to be a little bit ambitious, so we're going to need more. But whilst the mushroom bricks cook up, we're going to go and see if we can find a space to be able to build. And this little ledge right here kind of looks pretty good. It has a nice view. But before we make the big move, I need to take a little dip back into the pond. We've come back to the pond lab, looking for another burgle chip, but to be able to get it, I need to collect this key first and not die to the spiders. The key is only the first step to being able to get our burgle chip. Next, we need to get some precious oxygen in our system. Then we can dive back down and come over to this chest. Now, this burgle chip that we got is essential for our progression. By handing in this burgle chip, we can now unlock advanced smithing flavored globs.
Now we can like add different things to our weapons.
With these different globs, we can now add them to our weapons and make them significantly stronger. It's now day 40 and we're starting to make some moves, which means it's time to make a new base. And yes, we decided to build on this ledge. And coming up with a base design was kind of hard. I placed down some blueprints just to get an idea of what I think I liked. This design that we placed down is going to be a little bit tricky to erect, so I think I might try something else. Using these mushroom bricks, we're going to make a kind of castle looking place. This is going to be our forever home, so we have to make it right. And turning this into the right type of place for us is going to take us a little bit of time and a ton of resources that we need to gather. Day 41, and we spent most of this day just working on this base. It's a lot of work just collecting all the resources and defending myself while I do so. Had to make sure we had ample storage, all of our crafting benches, and a new one just like this. This is called the glue masher. It makes glue. That's pretty much it. But also, to make this place a little bit more homely, I wanted to add some furniture. Adding decoration does help to the gameplay too. I just forget exactly what. Maybe someone could say it in the comments. But it wasn't until day 42 that our base was pretty much complete.
Alright, so our base is completed. This area here is for our coziness. You gotta get the coziness up. You get like these kind of buffs. I don't really know how they work though. Down here, comfy, coziness thirst rate. Oh, it goes down slower, hunger rate Sleeping in a comfy spot grants you all day bonus of hunger fullness. Okay, so you get a few like different bonuses, I guess. That's what they are. Got a little fireplace. Got 2 different couches. Our little storage area right here. We got a nice cozy bed. A little bit of privacy here. Got 1 mannequin. We're probably going to put a few more down. What is spinning wheel, glue masher, roasting spit, smoothie station. This is like a crafting area. We go all the way up the stairs here. But can go outside here. And this is like our balcony that looks over down to our old place.
Gonna have a look around.
There's our old place right there. Right there. We've got a dew collector that we just set up here. It's probably a pretty inconvenient spot if I'm honest. But I'll give you guys a look see what we've kind of come up with. This is our base.
This is an aerial look at our base. I feel like I could make it a little bit more creative, but this is the best I've got. I'm not that good at this stuff, okay? Give me a rating in the comments below out of 10 what you think this base is. Anyways, moving on, it's time to get out to the world, trying to find places to explore and discover new areas.
Just coming to get my free science.
We then climbed up the bicycle once again, landed on the porch for the shed, and that's where we discovered these lint clumps. But I don't have a high enough axe to be able to gather this lint, so I guess we're gonna just have to try and get ourselves the next tier axe, which is the termite axe. But in order to do so, we're gonna need to find the termites. And currently, I don't know where the termites are, but we found a coffee maker. Slight foreshadow, that is important to the story. We did manage to discover this field station, and in the science shop, I bought the friendship offering for the Black Ant Queen. Day 43, my objective was clear. Hunt down some termites. And after a quick Google search, we found out exactly where they were. We also found this lab, but that's not important. We're here for the termites, which we found right next to this pile of wood. Quickly peeped it.
Okay.
Then began fighting them, only to discover that they're a little bit tougher than I expected. I thought that'd be kind of like the same level as the ants, but they're not. Fortunately, I'm a skilled warrior, so I managed to take them down and gather their parts, which gave us enough materials to be able to make the termite axe. But of course, since we're all the way over here, we have to do some more exploring. Entering the termite lair, we followed this passageway as far as we could, and it ended up coming outside, but a little bit higher than where we were previously. So we just kept following it along. We arrived to the top of this wood pile where we found this blue tarp, and underneath this tarp was a bunch of goodies, alongside some icky spiders. I collected everything that I could, fought some annoying mosquitoes, then made my way down the wood pile to head to the local field station so that we could research the new things that we picked up. We had now gotten enough brain power that we leveled up to level 13 and unlocked the Black Ox hammer as well as all the Black Ox armor. Now before the day ended, we went back to base and crafted up the termite axe. So the very next day, with our brand new termite axe, we traveled all the way back to the lint and harvested the lint clumps, even with these little dust mites annoying us. We'd been fighting a bunch of enemies in this upper yard, but I'd like to make it a little bit easier than what it currently is. So our next goal is to try and get a better weapon than we currently have. I had also learned that if you see sparkles in the ground in this Grand Canyon, you can use a shovel to dig it up and you can get some goodies. And also with our brand new axe, we can harvest this stuff. It's called pooper, and with it, we gained pooper hide, which we would go and research and analyze alongside the lint to unlock this lint rope, pooper leather. Oh, we also got this shiny bug thing. It's a scarab. Before I could craft the next weapon that I needed, I came over to the sandbox and placed down this stuffed antlion. You might be wondering, why would I need this stuffed antlion? Well, basically, once you place it down, you get a higher chance of getting a Luke Luck bonus. So once you defeat an antlion, there's a higher chance you can get better parts from them, and more. And we need to farm a bunch of them so I can make the antlion greatsword. And also, whilst we're here, we'll defeat this guy, get all of his useful parts, and go and collect some of these candies so we can turn them into globs and upgrade our equipment. Day 45. And in our oven, I started crafting up a bunch of these salt globs. We had a lot of salt. I then approached the workbench, and we could finally craft the antlion greatsword. Immediately, I upgraded it. And once we have enough salt globs, we'll then increase it even further. So with that being said, we just waited by the oven for the salt globs to be ready. It didn't take too long since we already had some cooked up. But now that we have 5 of these salt globs, we could add the salt globs to our antlion greatsword and power it up. Now we're still going to hold on to our mosquito needle as it does different types of damage to our greatsword. Certain damage type weapons are more effective against certain enemies. Like this greatsword is more effective against this Black Ox beetle than my mosquito needle would be. And we are smoking this big thing. And finally, we were able to kill it, much easier than we had previously. We had only gotten one of each of the Black Ox parts, and we need more. I think I want to try and make the Black Ox armor unless something else better comes along. But first, we obviously have to go and research these parts and level up our brain power even more. I make sure to check our Burgle quest periodically and keep an eye on them to see what else we need to complete. We then stumbled across a whole bunch of rusty screws on the ground, venturing further than we ever have before. And it was out here next to a toolbox we spotted a bunch of wasps and a wasp nest. I'm not ready to fight these just yet. I'm kind of scared. I did discover that these rusty nails can be broken down with a hammer, but our hammer's not strong enough. We're gonna have to make a stronger hammer eventually.
Day 46, we took a look at our armor sets to see what we should work towards making. I even went through the Scab operating system to try and get a better understanding of what I should be looking for when comparing the light armor, medium armor, heavy armor, and so forth. A lot of the parts we don't currently have yet to be able to make any armor. So instead of preparing for that, we went on a little bit of a side quest. We come back to visit our good old friends, the Red Ants. Well, really, we're coming to see the Red Ant Queen and offer her a friendly treat. Once we had fed her the treat, she seemed quite happy with it. So happy, in fact, that she gave us a little pet, a baby ant.
We got a baby ant with a pet?
I could also pick up all of these queen ant pheromones as well. Not exactly sure what it does, but I'm grateful for free items, I guess. Another one of the many tasks we need to complete by day 100 has now been completed. But one of the next things required us to craft some of this lint rope from all the lint that we had been collecting, as we need it to be able to craft some of the armor we want. I'd previously made this pet house. It's a place where you can store your pets, like our little baby ant, but it's also a place we can put some armor on them. Now, your pets can give you different bonuses as well. The red ant pet gives us a hauling strength. We can also name them. I went ahead and named this one Antonio. Get it? Get it? Day 47, and I was trying to decide on what armor I wanted to create, whether I was going to create the Black Ox or the roly-poly armor. The decisions can surely be difficult, but I think for now, we're going to hunt down some Black Oxes and try and get their parts. I am kind of leaning towards the Black Ox armor, mainly because it looks cool. Day 48, we unlocked some moth wrap armors. Not really sure it's kind of my style, you know? I had also added a zip line onto my base, and it goes from my base all the way up until the shed porch. We're definitely going to utilize this to be able to get around the map, but for now, we're on a little bit of a mission. We need to make our way up this baseball bat,
Up the big baseball bat we go.
and down onto this chair to see what's around here. Seems like a whole bunch of ants. I'd hate to be sitting on this chair. Get ants in your pants. There wasn't too much for us to see here, and I tried to get down, but not like this. Getting our stuff back was made so much easier thanks to this zip line. Now that we know how effective the zip lines are, we have to make one down to the oak tree. Since we're so far away from Burgle, this is definitely going to be our best option to get down there. But before we can build the lines, we need a little bit more silk rope. For day 49, we made our way back over to the oak tree to set up the other end of this zip line. Most of the materials are pretty easy to gather. The only thing is you need to have the silk rope on you. And once you build it, you need to line it up with the other zip line and connect it. Then I figured while I was here, I'd go and visit Burgle.
Boy, Burgle, we got a new one of these chips that we can use to unlock some stuff.
Like I just mentioned, I have another auxiliary chip to hand in. This is the woodpile chip. What did we unlock?
A wizard's hat. You're a wizard, Harry.
These candy staves are actually really good endgame weapons. We'll learn them alongside the cookbook for the woodpile as well, because the food can always be good too. And then we could head back to base on our super speedy zip line.
Oh, this is epic, dude.
In some of these large map games, it's always nice to have some way to traverse. It's the early morning of day 50, and we're making pretty good progress. Considering this is a 100% 100 days challenge, I think we're doing pretty well, but there is a lot for us to do still, so it's probably a good idea that we continue exploring. We made our way over to the eastern side of the map, came over to this rock formation, and just started climbing stuff to see where it would lead. Scored ourselves some raw science.
If only chemistry class was this easy.
A supreme marble, which we can use to upgrade some of our stuff, and then a spider's lair. When I peeped inside, well, we found out it was a black widow, a tier 3 enemy that has resistances to fresh, salty, and spicy. So we can only really damage it with sour, which we don't currently have a lot of the sour glob stuff. But we can kill its little babies. Surely this won't make it angry, will it?
Poison!
Yeah, even the little babies poison me. We're on our way out of here. That's when we ran into these little critters. They're called ticks. Kind of gross looking little bugs. But we did manage to get some tick fangs. Something new, something promising. We don't know what it does yet. And we did manage to find some more sour candy. Hey, we can work towards killing that black widow. Right over near this pond right here, there was another one of these black candy things. Of course, there was tiger mosquitoes, which if you time it right, you can block their attacks and they knock themselves out for a short time. It's not as easy when there's two of them. But hey, I'm here for this sour candy, so I'll do whatever it takes. And did you know that inside this pond, there were these things? They're called spiny water fleas.
and they're not friendly at all. If you're a little bit confused on where we are right now, well, we're right next to this thing, the Castle Murdoch playset. Call me Indiana Jones because we are on an adventure today, venturing wherever we can get to. This is how we get down into the milk molar thingy. Oh my lord. This right here wasn't a very promising sight, but hey, we got its intern badge and this book thing.
This is the jackpotio.
Indeed, it is the jackpotio. We have found a bunch of milk molars that we can use to upgrade some of our skills, which, if I'm honest, is starting to get pretty expensive.
Oh yeah.
We have 8 milk molars, but some of them require 4, some of them require 3, but we're working towards becoming the strongest person in this tiny world. I actually think we're the only person in this tiny world. Anyways, it is what it is. I stumble into this cave attracted by some dangly bits hanging from the roof. More pooper. Of course, I had to venture further inside, only to discover a big red ball. It blocked the way. I didn't actually know exactly what this cave was for. I'm sure that this is some type of puzzle cave. I'm just not really that good at figuring out puzzles. I figured we had to use this ball in order to be able to get up onto one of these other spaces, but I needed to position the ball in the right spot. And this is how keyboards are broken. This wasn't really working for us. Managed to make it over and collect these supreme marbles. But now we got to figure out how to get to that milk molar. And that jump did not work. I attempted our original strategy of landing on the ball and then trying to hit it in the direction we wanted to go. When that wasn't working, we just came back to here, jumped over to the ledge that we knew we could make it to, and then tried leaping over again without hitting the roof. That did not work. I stayed here for ages trying to figure this out, and eventually I kind of cheesed it by getting it stuck in the corner and then using the corner to jump on top of the ball, and finally up into the milk molar.
Yes, yes, yes!
From here, we came to this tree stump. I'm really starting to learn that the lower yard is quite small compared to up here, and there's so much to explore, and new things to discover, like this pine cone that I could destroy and gather, but my inventory was currently full, so I gave some stuff to Antonio to hold on to. This way, we could get ourselves some pine cone pieces. Later on, we found this zip line that led all the way up into the coffee maker.
I drink coffee when you could have a lemon crime instead.
Found a calculator, but maths is not my strong point, and it says it's got insufficient power anyways. But I think this is the clue to us being able to become big again. Obviously, we're nowhere near the end game, so we'll have to come back to it eventually. For now, we went to go analyze the pine cone and unlocked a bunch of building pieces. The large storage chest could come in handy. I then got into a fight with this ladybird, a fight that I thought was going to be quite simple and pretty straightforward. We fought lots of these in the past. But then it hit me and broke my armor. Now I had to be a little bit more cautious. We managed to defeat it, but now we have no armor. So it's probably time for us to head back to base. I mean, it's late at night anyway. Then I can look at making some of the new armor pieces that I mentioned earlier. We had unlocked some new armor pieces like the Wasp armor set, but as we were looking through our armor, the worst possible thing happened.
Oh yeah, what up? Armor set. Not a good time to get raided. Oh,
We're about to get raided, and I have no armor.
Day 51, and we're making this world a little bit easier for us. Just placing down staircases in places that I know I'm going to have to travel through eventually. This is a side entrance so we can get up onto the porch. Then I went to go and explore underneath the porch, see what we could find, like this milk molar. I had also discovered I can chop these down with my termite axe. They're called splinters, and they hurt if you get them in your skin, but they can also be very useful once we analyze them. We can craft splinter arrows. It's now technically day 52 and we're still on top of this wood pile. It's a good time to collect a bunch of these spicy lollies while we're here. We also found this Tic Tac container that had some minty fresh candy inside it. As I was making my way back to base, we spotted a scarab, this shiny little bug. So of course I had to kill it and get my hands on it. Day 53, we came over to the barbecue. No, not because we were hungry and craving a juicy steak, because apparently there's an entrance to this bag. And in this bag, there's a bunch of coals, but something really, really important. That thing right there. There's a sword stuck in that coal, and we want it. It's called a flaming sword, and in order to get it, we need to defeat a whole bunch of waves of different insects that will come in and try and claim it. And unfortunately, they're ladybird larvas. And these little insects are annoying and tough. This was really tough. We managed to get halfway there, but also our sword was sustaining a lot of damage. The waves got tougher and tougher, we were sizzling, and unfortunately, we are not worthy of the flaming sword. We may have failed that time, but we're not going to give up. I just need to recalibrate some of my mutations and pimp out my new sword. Yeah, I forgot to mention I made this tiger mosquito rapier. It's like our last little mosquito sword, but it's better. Well, it will be once we upgrade it a little bit more. It's more or less going to be a backup to our antlion sword. Our antlion sword is more effective, but there might be times where we might need it, so we can switch out whenever we need. Anyways, we return to do this once again. Hopefully this time we're a little bit more prepared. I ate one of the minty candies as well to try and help us not get sizzled whenever we approach the coal. I made sure to try my best to keep the aggro of all the ladybird larvas so that they don't start attacking the sword. I wanted to try and lure them away, but also keep their attention on me and not die myself. We're doing a lot better than we did last time, and the sword is yet to sustain any damage. There were a few close calls, of course. Yeah, previously, whenever we get too close to the lavas or we get too close to the center of the sword, the sizzling would do damage. But thanks to the mint, it would kind of help us a little bit. And then after a little bit of time, we had unlocked the Spicy Coltana. We had also unlocked the Guard Dog mutation. With this, we deal increased damage to creatures involved in defense events. And you'll find out later on that this mutation is very valuable. But for now, we need to get back to base so we can craft up this Spicy Coltana. It's supposed to be really overpowered.
Making this thing straight away. Spicy Coltana incoming. Yes, yeah. Is it a two-handed weapon there? Oh, it is.
Hey, see, you know me, I got the Spicy Coltana. Don't wanna mess with me. You know, the Spicy Coltana go in your culo. Ha 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 ha.
With my cool new katana in hand, of course, I had to go and check this out. Slice and dice some of these orb weavers. We finished them off extremely quickly.
Oh, yeah. You didn't like that, did you?
I even faced off against the wolf spider.
Not too scary. I like to before.
These things used to be incredibly scary. But now with my spicy katana, it's dead. This sword is definitely a leg up in the game, and we're seriously entering the end game right now. Day 54, we woke up and made a bunch of these whetstones that we could use to upgrade our Spicy Coltana, and now all we need is a Mighty Glob. With it fully maxed out, we now need to decide which candy we're going to infuse into it to increase its power. I decided to give it the Mint Glob. This will give it fresh damage. I wasn't too sure if it would double up as fresh and spicy because it's both now. Technically, either way, it's more stronger than it was previously. That's all that matters. I then went to go head on over to the Haze. I wasn't just collecting some goods that were around. I was here for a specific reason. This thing right here. The Mix R. This is a defense event. Once we trigger it, we need to protect it from at all costs. So we're gonna need the Guard Dog mutation. And then I start it up. And defend it from all of the infected bugs that come through to it. With my Spicy Coltana in hand, we were slaying all of these bugs. Although the infected bugs were pretty tricky as they exploded on death. The haze also made it very difficult, and I wasn't paying any attention. We lost the defense.
Wait, what?
Something got through and was attacking it.
I didn't even see these freaking punks.
That was a harsh lesson to learn, and shows that I went in a little bit overconfident because of this sword. Anyways, back at base, we crafted up a large storage unit. We've had this unlocked for a while, but we just hadn't needed it until now.
Oh, that's big.
And it holds lots of stuff. Day 55, and we're heading back to an old favorite that we've been to a lot. Yeah, we're coming back to the Hedge Lab. Look, I know I've been here a bunch of times already, but this is a 100 days challenge, so we need to complete everything in every location. And there's a certain spot out here that we hadn't been to yet, where I could collect this milk molar. But also get up to this laboratory place, where I could get some raw science and a scab, alongside the Broodmother research notes, which we need to be able to summon in the Broodmother and fight it. Because yes, we are finally preparing to fight our very first big boss, the Broodmother. And the Broodmother's lair we saw earlier in this video with the big spider web area near the Hedge Lab. So we're gonna have to come back to the Hedge Lab again, but first I want to place down these stairs so we can get back here easier. This is a staircase that leads from the Hedge Lab all the way up until the upper yard, which is pretty good, assuming we don't fall all the way back down to the lower yard. And luckily we did. We found a milk molar along the way trying to get back up. And a strange crack in the wall.
Because what is this? Oh.
At the time, I didn't know what this was.
Oh, is this like the end game thing? I think, yeah, we beat the bosses. The Broodmother, the Praying Mantis Lady, the Wasp boss. We gotta beat all the bosses, make the coffee, and then we go in there, and that's how we get big? I think that is. Interesting.
Day 56, and there's a few more things I need to do in preparation of fighting the Broodmother. And to do so, we need to enter the jungle anthill, because we need to gather a bunch of this pooper leather, some of the quartzite, and pick up this poison toe jam sandwich. It's a recipe we need for the Fire Ant Queen. If we find some marble, we're going to collect that as well. We need everything we can so we can upgrade our armor and weapons. We need to make sure we're as strong as possible to fight the Broodmother. Oh, and we also found the Fire Ant Queen as well. We will deal with her a little bit later. For now, our main focus is the Broodmother. Well, that is until my base was starting to get attacked by lavas. After we defeated most of the creatures that came to our base, well, apparently there was still some laying around, but we couldn't find them. Eventually, they lost interest and went away. Day 57, and we came down to the pond lab so that we could pick up a bunch of these mussel sprouts, as these are really great to add to your smoothies so we can get an extra buff, which is something that will definitely help us out when fighting the Broodmother. And every time we go back to our old base, I make sure to pick something up and bring it back to our new base. And with this garden patch, I wanted to see if I can grow some more of these mussel sprouts here, instead of having to go back down to the pond lab to get more. I then made a brand new armor set. Now this might be kind of confusing because it does look like the red ant armor set, but this is actually the fire ant armor set. And we max out their upgrades that will also give us acid damage as well. I then crafted the Spicy Staff. This is a highly recommended weapon for some of these boss fights, especially the Broodmother, as it's a high damage ranged weapon. I'm fully prepared, slightly nervous, but it's time to go and fight the Broodmother. I have my armor on, my smoothies ready, and my weapons prepared. I have the Broodmother BLT. We feed it into whatever that is, and let this boss fight begin.
Oh, there she is! Oh my god! Oh, I'm smoking her.
Surprisingly, our Coltana was doing a ton of damage, but this is why we needed the Spicy Staff.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No! Take this. Take this. Please, 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 please. Don't die. Don't die. Please don't die. Shoot. Okay, little creepazoids.
I definitely got overconfident in this fight, not realizing that the more damage we do, the Broodmother goes into different phases and becomes tougher to fight. It poisoned me, we were slowly dying, but it was almost dead.
Come on, almost dead, almost dead, almost dead. This is it, this is it. Freaking big. You're massive, you're massive. I get it, but you're dead. You're dead, this is me. I'm the winner. I'm the winner. I am the god.
We also got a bunch of resources from it, stuff that we can turn into some special armor. But now we gotta head back to base and check all the stuff out. Since beating the Broodmother, I was pretty confident I could take on the Black Widow spider.
Oh, hell no, hell no, hell no.
Yeah, so the Widow spider is way stronger than the Broodmother, and it heals itself. I need to get out of here quick. We got very lucky and it got stuck in between these rocks.
Why is it healing?
Slightly poisoned, we're making a run for it. Luckily, we managed to get away. But before heading back to base, we needed to come to this field station so we could research the new Broodmother pieces. And we unlocked some new stuff. The Club of the Mother Demon, full Broodmother armor, and some more armor. I definitely want to get my hands on that armor. It does look pretty good. When I finally made it back to base, we had a visitor come by. Something I never thought would ever turn up here. Yeah, a wolf spider, all the way over here. After realizing that I don't have enough resources to be able to make any of the Broodmother armor, I came to the conclusion that I'm gonna need to go and fight the Broodmother multiple times. So to make my life a little bit easier, we made a zip line all the way from our base to a little bit closer to the Broodmother's lair. It's a long line, and it still takes quite a while to cross it, but at least I can kind of AFK when I do it. We also crafted up something a little bit more fun. Yeah, we got a hot tub, we're chilling. Apparently it does give us like some extra buffs for our base as well. So it does have a practical thing. I then wanted to work on a little project that I had thought of for my base. We're building a tower up here that we're going to connect all of our zip lines to. This way we have like a one-stop shop for all of our zip lines so we can get all around the map. Day 59 and we have it all set up and ready to go. This also works a little bit better because it has a little bit of a slope downwards. So we move a bit faster. That's called physics, kids. Learn it. And yes, we are heading back to the Broodmother, but I also want to make another staircase up into the Broodmother's lair just to make it a bit easier because traveling around to it is a bit of a hike. In a 100 days challenge where we're trying to 100% things, anything we can do to make our trips more efficient is always going to help. Anyways, we're fighting the Broodmother again. The other thing with this game is all of the drops can be RNG, so you're never guaranteed certain items to drop every time you kill them. And like I mentioned earlier, we really want to get that Broodmother armor set, so we're gonna have to farm this boss quite a lot. And get all of its body parts so that we can wear them. After leaving the Broodmother's lair, I saw a pink thing in the distance and went to go check it out. I then encountered these wasps and thought, YOLO, let's fight them. Hoping that my spicy stuff would help us out, but since they're flying, and get up close and personal when I could with my Coltana. The spicy stuff doesn't work well when you're trying to shoot upwards. It does have good splash damage, but ultimately, the needle works the best. I made my way over to the tree stump and found the motherload of clay. Not exactly sure what I need it for right now, but it's always good to have, I guess. We can just make more storage at home. But also, after doing a little bit of research on the U of tubes, I found out that there was an item that I need to get up here that can come in handy. This is Thor's Pendant. A tier 3 trinket that can give you 10% buffs to all of your stats, which can significantly help us out with some of these bigger boss fights and some of these other fights just in general. I saw this rocket ship with its lid off and I wanted to get inside it and find out what's inside. That's when we found the motherload of sour candies. And I'm eventually going to have to create a sour weapon so we can fight the Black Widow. That thing's so damn tough. We went back down to the lower yard so we could come to this mixer drive. The difficulty level on this one was much lower than the previous one that we'd done, and we're much stronger with our new armor and the Coltana. So I figured we would be able to complete this. It was only red ants that came in to fight this, and honestly, they went down with ease. And after a little bit of slaying and praying, we completed this mixer overdrive, our very first one. At the time, I had no idea I'm supposed to collect this thing, so don't roast me in the comments. My bad, we do come back for it later. Since we were still in the lower yard, we went to go visit our good friend, the Broodmother. This fight seems to just get easier and easier. But yes, we still need to keep farming her so we can get the armor. So we did fight her multiple times. And now we should have enough to be able to make some armor at least, which is exactly what we did when we got back to base. And we had enough parts that we could make an entire set, and even some left over to be able to make the Club of the Mother Demon. Of course, I upgraded all of these things as much as possible, and this is our brand new fit. It's pretty badass looking. This Broodmother armor is quite encumbering since it is a heavy armor set, but it also comes with an additional buff. Anything that damages me, well, they get poisoned. This makes fighting some of the things out in the wilds much easier as their health just drains without me doing very much. But we're working our way over to the tree stump, doing a little bit of parkour to try and land inside this laboratory. This is the Stump Lab Outpost, and since it's a lab that kind of broke and it's on its side, well, it got a little bit confusing to get around. Had to try my best to use my parkour skills to maneuver around this place and try my best not to fall down like this. But even though we fell, we managed to find the burgle chip that we were after. When we entered areas that were a little bit dark, I discovered I could use my Coltana as kind of a torch. It's dark now, get the Coltana out, and I can kind of see a little bit better. We eventually found ourselves in a dark cave that we could use to climb ourselves out of here, and also had a few goodies that we could collect. Then we managed to get ourselves out of here, even with a tick on my head. Kinda gross. As I was making my way back to base, we found another motherload of these sour candies. Stocked up on these so we can make a sour weapon later. We're sticking to our routine. We have a new burgle chip, so we're going to go visit Burgle. Now we have the stump chip, we can see what we can unlock in the science shop. We can now get these upgrade things, a whole different bunch of jewels. Either way, we went ahead and unlocked all of the recommended items and the friendship offering for the Fire Ant Queen. Later on in the day, we're heading on out to the northern eastern part of the map. We're aiming to get right up in the corner right here. Now you might be wondering, what exactly are we looking for over in the northwest of this map? Trust me, it's important, but we can't get there without bumping into some critters that we need to take on, and picking up a weird mixture of candies. We have spicy, sour, and mint. Imagine eating that all at once. I mean, I'll do it, but I don't know if it would be tasting good. Anyways, we're on this lawnmower and we need to climb up it in order to get to the next part, which lands us on this big ladder, then onto these vines, which is also kind of a puzzle because we have to pick certain leaves that we need to jump onto to get up to this spot right here. This gave us a great view of the whole garden, but ultimately this is what we came for. A big stick of chewing gum. Not really. There was a key that we needed to find that was underneath it. Now, what does the sticky key open? Well, inside this tire, we will soon find out. It's a big chest that we get a couple milk molars from. Have to deal with the stupid water fleas. But most importantly, we got this waterlogged recipe. Now you might be wondering what the waterlogged recipe gives us. Well, let me show you. We can now craft the bomb arrow. Bomb arrows. And it is exactly what you think it is. An arrow with bombs. Next, I went to the field station analyzed some new items that we had picked up, like this ash stuff, which unlocked a bunch of ash building pieces. I'm pretty happy with our mushroom brick building, so I don't think I'm going to use the ash stuff right now. Plus, we're pretty deep into this 100 days, and I have a lot more to go to be able to 100% it as well. Our next mission of the day was to set up some transportation to the picnic table. And yes, I am setting up another zip line. One point leads up from the upper yard, and the other point, well, we're going to have to climb up onto the picnic table to be able to set it up. We got pretty lucky. We were able to get up here without any issues and managed to connect the zip line, and now we've got an extremely easy way to get to the picnic table whenever we need from our base. As we gather more materials, we do upgrade our equipment as we go along. We still have 2 more major bosses that we need to fight and a whole bunch of other tasks that we need to complete, so it's very important that we upgrade our gear and craft better gear for certain circumstances. For example, like when you get raided unexpectedly, these orb weavers really do not like me. Don't worry, they don't like my Coltana either. Suckers. Although the spot that they do spawn in at is a kind of weird spot. They're currently nowhere near my base and really have no way to get to it. I could just stand at the top of these stairs and nothing would really happen, except for the ones that do get up here and do kind of hit my base. Day 65, and we're setting up another zip line. This one's going to lead to the barbecue, and it's from the barbecue that we can get to the picnic table. This is kind of a long kind of run. It was just a bit easier and better to be able to make a zip line. And we had a little mission that we needed to go do right now that obviously required us to come back to the sandbox. In one of these sandbox tunnels, I needed to come visit the Black Ant Queen, and I made her a yummy sandwich. I'm sure she would enjoy it, and she definitely did. So much so that she gave me a little pet, the Black Ant baby. The baby Black Ant, and a bunch of her pheromones. Since we're already over at the sand pit, I wanted to go to the sand castle. I had to build over this moat to be able to gain access. There was a certain thing that I needed to gather that was on top of this sand castle. But building stairs all the way up was turning out to be quite difficult, since there's not a lot of grass and wood around here to collect. After all, we're in a sandbox. But after a bit of patience and perseverance, we made it up here. And to our surprise, there was a milk molar. But the whole reason why we're here was for this, the burgle flag. That's another task ticked off the list. I stayed around in the sandpit even when the sun rose, because I wanted to go to these little sparkles in the ground and dig up the treasures that can be underneath them. You can find lots of things in these treasures, but we're looking for something in particular. Even though these candies are great to have, it's not what we're here for. We're looking for a key to a treasure chest. Not this treasure chest, there's a big one that has some stuff in it. As the sun came up, it made it a little bit harder to see the sparkles in the ground. But we are determined. We're going to find this. Trust me. The thing is, I didn't expect to dig up a dead body, but I guess this dead guy's not going to need all the stuff that he had on him, and I actually think we need this for the 100% challenge. Anyways, after living out my dream of being a grave digger, we finally found the key that we were looking for. We had now acquired the key. All we need to do now is find the treasure chest that's in this water moat next to the castle that we were climbing on earlier. Yes, we have now unlocked a pretty powerful weapon, the Salt Morningstar. And I'm pretty sure I've got a lot of the ingredients to be able to craft it. So of course, I raced back to base to do exactly that. Although once ziplining back, I realized there was a milk molar in that lunchbox. Oh, we need to get our button to there. Another juicy milk molar acquired. Now to begin the journey back home so I can make this new weapon. Once we finally arrived back at base, I deposited all of the things that we had gathered, then went ahead and crafted this Salt Morningstar. Of course, I had to upgrade it as much as I could with all the resources that I have, then take a nice relaxing soak in our spa bath. Fresh and relaxed, it's time to go and see what kind of damage we can do with this new weapon. But at the same time, we need to head over to the castle of Murdoch, whatever it's called. I couldn't see a clear path over there, so of course I'm just gonna build. #Fortnite. Of course it's never that simple though with these stupid tiger mosquitoes hanging around. Now you might be wondering, why didn't I use the Morningstar against them? Well, basically because the Coltana is just way more effective against mosquitoes. After all, I'm in the middle of building a bridge. I don't care about fighting just yet. Once we arrived over here, we found some gunpowder clumps, which is kind of strange to find inside of a kid's toy. Anyways, we spotted this crack in the ground. I went down to go investigate. This is where we discovered another laboratory and a milk molar. I then spent quite a while trying to figure out how to get into this place, checking to see if I could interact with these cords, followed the cord to see where it would lead. I couldn't figure it out. Unfortunately, after a little bit of research, I found out that it's not the time to come here just yet. I have to actually do a few more other steps before coming here. Thankfully, there was a pretty easy exit, so I didn't have to climb up all the way to get out. But I wonder if I can use this to get back in later. I don't know. For now, we're just gonna head back to base. We're done here. Early morning of day 68, we went over to the toolbox to go and check it out. Of course, I got into a fight with a couple wasps while I was here, but I was able to use my Salt Morningstar on them, and it was decently effective. If I remember correctly, wasps really don't like salt. But whilst I was here, I wanted to chop this down, the small wasp hive, because you can get some other resources from it. Wasp
paper, which I'm rather intrigued to find out what wasp paper does. And once analyzing it, it just gives us some decorative items for our base. My next goal, I wanted to craft a thing called the toenail scimitar. Yeah, it's about as gross as you think it would be, but it's a tier 3 weapon, and I thought it might be kind of good. And we need to find some toenail clippings that we should find on this table next to the chair on the shed. Found a big ass scab right here. Turns out I can break this open and get something out of it. Or maybe I'm supposed to put something in it. Yes, we just have to put this scab fuse inside of it. Then we can activate it, which means we should be able to enter a crawl space into a new area. But first, let's do what we came here for. Collect all of these disgusting toenails. Toenails secured. Let's go find this crawl space and discover what there is to discover, really. Thanks to the waypoint on our map, we found it quite quickly. With my teeny tiny hand, we gained access to a new area, which seemed to be another lab, but it wasn't. It was just a pathway that would lead to underneath the shed. And this dark, gloomy area was teeming with insects and bugs of all types. A lot of high tier ones, and all grouped up together. Getting absolutely gangbanged by some big black ox beetles was not on the bingo card today. I did not want to stick around. This was getting rough. Plus, I wanted to do some more exploring. This place is quite interesting and a lot larger than I had expected. I accidentally fell down and into the water. I didn't even notice this was here. I then got surrounded by all of these water fleas. Now, I love my fans, but this is not how I like to be treated, okay? We did eventually find a safe way to get out of the water, but we need to get over to that hole in the wall over there. It was dark, but we made our way through, along the way picking up some pooper leather as well. There was actually quite a bit of it here, so it was a great place to stock up. We made it to the hole, but as I was fighting this mosquito, well, it broke my helmet. Quite the inconvenience, which was quite inconvenient timing, since the next room had a black widow spider in it. With my little legs and my katana, I just ran straight past it. I wasn't about to fight that, especially without my helmet. We managed to get past it, but then we got caught in some spider webs. I hadn't taken a chance to look back to see if I was getting chased or not, but I think we were pretty safe. And that's when we made it to the next laboratory. It was in here that we needed to complete before we could go to that next place that we went to earlier in the big castle. Had to face off against some ants that had infected the place. Speaking of infected, well, there was actually infected bugs here, and a rather ominous drawing on this whiteboard. Definitely foreshadowing what is to come. Yeah, that guy right there. If it wasn't obvious, well, we're gonna have to fight that giant Frankenstein bug. I just need to figure out how to actually get to him. Yeah, I get lost in these places quite a lot. But once again, thanks to the good old U of the tubes, we discovered how to get there. I just never thought to look up in this room. Guess it makes sense. I jumped down into the hole, and to make sure I could get this achievement, I made sure to peep him. His name is Mant. Get it? Because he's like a man ant. It's pretty dumb, actually. Anyways, let this fight begin. I did try out multiple weapons to see what would work best. The little stabby mosquito blade was pretty decent. I tried out the katana. It was also pretty decent and did a ton of the damage.
Yeah, you did.
You're so dead, bro. I got your ass. You did.
Oh, ah! Oh, shit. See ya. See you later.
Yes.
Take a knee, bitch.
We then defeated another kind of boss.
Yeah,
Of course, I had to violate the mandem. I thought we had completed everything. Then I checked the quest marker and noticed that I needed to explore to find a Mr. Tully. And once I entered this room, I think we discovered where he is. I think we found him. If you know The Wizard of Oz, you'd get that reference. If not, then maybe I'm just old. Anyways, this is Mr. Messed Up Face, Mr. Tully. Pretty sure he's a character from Ninja Turtles. After continually listening to him yap on for a bit,
so much chatter.
we find out that he's actually kind of a good guy. And he helps us gain access into this room
Grilled science.
where we pick up whatever that was.
Yeah.
After all the fun had concluded, we went out this door and we're back out into the yard.
Are we back in the yard?
Yes, we are back in the yard. And it's time for us to run back to base, deposit all of our goodies, and finally repair our helmet. We just had a rather crazy day doing all those adventurous things. And to top it off, this had to happen. Yeah, we began to get raided from mosquitoes. Like, bro, if this one single day couldn't have got crazy enough. Oh, also, see those glowing light bulbs? Well, Dr. Tully has come with us. And he assists us in any fight. Honestly, in this particular fight, he wasn't super helpful. Like, dude shoots out these electric balls, but they don't do a lot of damage. Dude's just all show. But he's also a yap head. Get it? Because he's just a head and he yaps a lot. Day 69, I needed to gear up for what was to come. Try and collect some things like these scarabs, which are quite difficult. They run away and then they duck underneath the ground, never to be seen again. But they would be handy because I want to make these mighty jewels, and I need scarabs, which we don't have. We are supposed to be able to find some under here, but we have to deal with some stink bugs whilst we're here also. I found some more of this gunpowder. Then later that night, we ventured over to the coffee pot. It's with this machine that I should be able to make myself big again, thanks to the help of Dr. Tully. I had to prepare the machine by adding all these different ingredients and things, mixed up a little mixture or concoction, I have no idea what it is. And then I pressed the red glowing button.
only to be told that we had insufficient power. Turns out some type of bugs were destroying our power source. They look like they had some sort of contraption on their heads. I think they could be controlled by something.
Which is something that we're definitely going to have to investigate a little further. We then had to repair all of these parts. And I went to speak to Mr. Wendell Tully again. Turns out we have a new enemy that we just discovered. And it's Dr. Tully's rival, which just so happens to be at the castle from earlier. And because we have Dr. Tully on our side, we can now gain access to this laboratory. We just have to listen to him yap for quite a bit. Inside was one of these fire ants that was protecting the place. And a whole bunch of doohackies and dingnockies. Looks like whoever owned this place was subduing some of the ants and making them his pets. And I feel like we're about to discover who that is. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Let's fight. I swear, everyone just loves to yap in this game. Another floating head guy. What's up with scientists and floating heads? Anyways, cue epic fight scene.
Oh, shoot. Change up my hotbar a little bit. Because, yes, I need that extra stamina boost. Those lasers really hurt.
After all the crazy power and the energy beams and all, I don't even know. It was crazy. We defeated this next boss. Dr. Tully was quite proud, but most importantly, we unlocked some really good items. Next, I knew that I'm gonna need a ton more sap. We just need it for a lot of things. So down at the oak tree, I placed down a bunch of these sap collectors right next to our zip line so it was easy to get to. Next, I crafted up a new weapon, the Acid Edge. Next, I crafted myself a piece of this termite armor. It's light armor that also has a dust guard with it as well. Because where we're heading is going to get dusty.
Actually, I have no idea if it's going to get dusty, but it is going to get dangerous. Now we have a pretty powerful sour axe. And you know what's weak against sour axes? Black Widow spiders. Now hopefully I'll finally be able to defeat this thing. We're doing quite a bit of damage, and I think it's kicking up dust. That's why this termite armor's on. I forget why I did it. I'm assuming that's what's happening. Its little minions were kind of annoying, but hey, we killed it. We got a whole bunch of spider parts off its body and found some toenails at the back of its lair. And this golden molar. Now to analyze these new parts, and we unlocked some widow armor pieces. I came back to base, and for my little pet ants, I made them some armor. I don't know if it helps or anything, but it definitely looks cute. My next task of the day was to attempt to complete this super mixer. Psych, we're not doing that. It's the hardest level. We're not prepared. Instead, I'm going to battle this wasp drone. We're a lot stronger now, so we can take on 2 at a time, whereas before we would have got annihilated already. Whilst I was here, I took the wasp nest. I needed some of that wasp paper. I forget what for, but I'm sure we'll find out shortly. I then peeped the largest creature in this entire backyard. A crow. Went to go check to see what we had unlocked and what we had peeped already, and there's quite a few that we've done, but there's still a few to go. It was getting late, so it was time to head back to base and go to sleep. Then we had a magnificent dream. It was actually kind of scary. I'm pretty sure this was a nightmare. A bunch of wasps have escaped from a container, which seemed to have opened an entrance to a new area. Now, of course, I have to go investigate. After we break down this donut and eat it, I'm sure it's delicious. Brawny boy bin entrance discovered. There seems to be like a storage bin just full of random things. I could hear lots of buzzing going around and see a lot of spider webs, so I had to make sure I stayed on guard. Of course, we saw a pretty creepy lair with a black widow spider inside it. I had my sour axe on me, so I had to go fight it. Why not? It's a little bit dark and kind of hard to see, but all that matters is we killed it. I then made my way through this dark maze, trying to figure out where exactly all of this places lead to. Came out to a big bunch of books, and a whole bunch of wasps were surrounded by this wasp nest thingy. Found an arm thing that I'm supposed to bash with one of my tools. I hit it, it moved, and then went to this ball with some holes in it. Leapt over to the arm that fell down, began climbing it, and I'm unsure exactly what this does. Either way, we made a new discovery, the large disassembled taser. Now I know I need to get over there. There's a milk molar I need to collect, but getting over there turns out to be quite tricky. A little bit of parkour is not exactly my strength. Once I got bumped off it again, I kind of gave up on this whole task. Instead, I discovered I could hit this and use this to climb up to another ledge. But unfortunately, there's some wasps there, which is fine because we have our salt mace and yeah, it wrecks them. Although the fight is a little bit intense and kind of annoying since they run away because they're little bitches, we do manage to put them in an eternal slumber. That means they're dead. And we found another research lab conveniently held inside here. Research this super spider venom and unlock the widow dagger. widow spolders, and super venom arrows. They actually seem pretty powerful. We should get some of that. Took a peek over this ledge and saw a purple glowing thing. And duh, I have to go check it out. Only to discover that it's a burgle chip.
Boom, we got it.
Now this area is where you can find another boss. It's just inside this wasp area. We just have to leap on down into this. Right into here, the wasp nest. First, we're gonna need to craft a BBQ medley. I don't currently have the recipe for it, but if I pick it up from this skeleton right here, well, now I'll be able to make the medley. Our time here is complete, so it's time to head on out. We will definitely be returning later as we're going to have to fight the wasp boss eventually. But for now, we're going to head to the undershed because there's a little area here that we can go and get some of those green scarabs that we need to upgrade our weapons. Right inside this pipe right here. You can find the green scarabs, and they have nowhere to burrow, so they're a little bit easier to kill and capture. This is a great place to farm them when we need them. Like, you get a lot. I also figured whilst we're here, let's go put a beat down on this Black Widow spider. I'm pretty sure the Black Widow spider in Australia is called the redback. And yeah, here they're pretty scary. You can find them underneath toilet seats and stuff. So check your ass, people. Once we got back to base, we heard those dreaded horns once again.
Really? Wasps are coming?
I think those wasps were angry from earlier since we invaded their home. But we'd made this turret machine thing. And I figured it might be a lot of fun. And I was right. It is. I moved into a better position, and we got to lay the smack down on these wasps. Some didn't really come close to base, so we had to go track them down. But we defended our base. That's all that matters. Day 73, we came to visit Virgil to drop off the new super chip that we had gathered. This then unlocked some more things that we could buy from the science shop. A dissection expert, a new cookbook, and some cosmetic items. I then went ahead and used 1,000 raw science to duplicate some of the spider venom we'd gathered, so that we could craft this, the Widow Dagger. It's not only a really good poison dagger, but it's also a useful tool as well. I need to be smelting up a ton more of these globs, so I crafted up another one of these ovens. I then raced over to the pond near the castle so that I could gather up some of this pond moss with our brand new Widow Dagger. With the dagger being a tier 3 dagger, we could now cut through this and gather it. I then spotted something in the crack of this wall, a scab that we need to collect, and a milk molar. I couldn't get back up, so I had to jump all the way back down to the bottom yard. That's okay though, because we stumbled across a golden milk molar. You know what's low-key kind of crazy? I didn't know that I hadn't peeped a tadpole just yet. Like, we've gone through so many of them, but I never peeped it. I also realized I'd never actually been on this part of the pond in this map. It's where we found another passageway that led to a different science lab. I don't think it was super important to be here, but it had a lot of these sturdy marble shards and quartzite shards and a bunch of things to upgrade our weapons. And then another art piece that I'm sure is important in some way, shape, or form, but I don't really know what's going on. We also discovered a field station nearby. And I went ahead and analyzed the pond moss, which unlocked some decorative items, nothing too important. Managed to finally peep the koi fish, don't know how we missed that big boy. And since we're down here in the pond, we grabbed a bunch of these mussel sprouts. They're really good for our smoothies. Day 74, we went on a little bit of a stroll. Well, a zipline stroll, I guess. Back down to the lower yard because there was a few other things we needed to tick off our 100% list. Some things that required us to go for a swim in this exposed pipe. Which, if I'm honest, I probably should have come here with some sort of breathing apparatus, because we did manage to get a little stuck and began running out of air with no air in sight. Then we died a horrible death. When we respawned back at the sandbox field station, which was kind of inconvenient since it was the middle of the day and it was kind of hot. I didn't go straight back to the water pipe just yet. Instead, we went to the trash around the back to pick up a few things since it was kind of close. Remember, 100% challenge, so we need to collect everything. We're back in the haze where we found a cave. That kind of rhymes. The cave was guarded by this wolf spider, which was light work because we're really strong now. But what was worse were these little infected gnats. They kept stealing my stuff, which left me without weapons at some times. They're actually really annoying to fight. We did manage to get it all back eventually, but it's still a pain in the butt. At the end of this cave, there were some bones. And the lore behind these bones is, well, I'm pretty sure it's like someone's ferret or rat or someone's pet. And I think it ate some gum and that's why it's dead. Unlucky rat managed to find another scab and skedaddle our little legs out of there.
Oh, after closely inspection, there's a thing that can go up here onto the gas can. So.
My next goal was to climb upon this, I think it's like a weed eater chemical spray thing. When we'd get up here, we should be able to complete another task, assuming we could actually make it up all the way and not fall down. We did eventually make our way all the way back up, this time picking the route that ensured we actually got up here so we could claim the burgle flag. But not only that, we could use some gum nuggets to close up this hole, which from now on will clear the haze.
and we no longer need a gas mask to be able to get around here. We then made our way back to the cracked pipe. No, not the type that junkies use on the corner of the streets, a literal cracked pipe. I wanted to complete this place and find some more air pockets, which thankfully there were a few around, but also I needed to get our stuff back, which I managed to do, so we kept on going on further. This is where we found some vines that we need to break open to get through, so we can get a milk molar and some raw science.
I'm feeling more sciencey already.
Unfortunately, we ran out of oxygen and died. So I respawned and came straight back to the crack pipe, only to run out of oxygen once again. Look, we had collected a lot of stuff and I couldn't just leave it in there, okay? But we did originally die on the way out, so we got our bag a little bit closer than it was before, meaning we could pick it up and get to an air pocket to breathe, but our journey was not quite complete. I wanted to try and get through here to see what else we could discover, only for us to come out in one of the labs. Pretty sure this is the Black Anthill. Or maybe it's the sandbox one, I don't know. Actually, I think that's the same thing. Anyways, we came to hunt down another burgle flag, gaining more raw science and completing another achievement. We are currently on a roll, completing all the small little tasks to make sure we get a 100%. So much so that we came back to the maze on top of the picnic table to figure out the puzzle inside of this place. And apparently we need to roll this dice to land on a particular side. Apparently it needs to be showing 20 at the top. It'll do that effect, and then we can go into here and open up this treasure chest, which gives us another scab, a milk molar, and most importantly, the picnic burgle chip. When I arrived back at base, I upgraded some of my weapons even further, as we are definitely going to need to be a lot stronger when we take on our next foe. And you might be wondering who exactly is our next foe. It is in fact the Wasp Queen. The super fast poisonous flying bug. Now she doesn't love salt, but she doesn't love coming close enough for me to hit either, until she lands, and then there's my opportunity to go in and strike. Since this is our first time fighting her, we're figuring out how this will work, trying to work out her patterns. She seems to summon in her minions periodically, but will eventually land, giving us the best opportunity to strike. She does deal a ton of damage and poison damage, and we're constantly having to regenerate with some health smoothies. I begin to notice that her own health starts to regenerate as well, so we're going to have to try and get this thing done quick. But after a little bit of persistence, we strike her with our Coltana and finish the job, defeating the Wasp Queen. And gaining some cool new things too. It's now the early morning of day 76 and we start making our way back home, stopping past all of these electrical wires that you might have thought I had forgotten about, but I haven't. We're just not prepared to go further yet. After all, it was a very big day fighting the Wasp, so I think I deserve a nice rest in this tub. After a nice refreshing dip in our tub, we went to go analyze the Wasp Queen's parts, unlocking a lot of stuff, which includes the Bard's Bow, a tier 3 bow that I think would be a lot stronger than what we have. I then noticed something strange in the lower yard. This new weed, a burr weed, and that's where we could get these spiky burrs. Now these have come in because we have clogged up the weed killer down near the haze, and we can use these for a bunch of building pieces. Quite a bit has changed in the lower yard since we had been here last. For example, some infected creatures can be right here, next to the oak tree, and infected wolf spiders are a lot stronger than their normal counterparts. Like, we almost lost this fight. Anyways, we came down to Burgle. We need to visit our friend once again. We have another auxiliary chip that we need to give him, which means we can unlock some more items from the science shop. Day 77, I added some more decorations to our base. Now, I'm not doing this just because I want to. I need to max out the coziness level in our base to be able to get the achievement. I then went ahead to go and check what bugs we have and haven't peeped yet. We've been filling this out quite nicely, but there's still a few missing. So I'll go out and find some of those creatures as soon as we work on our base a little bit. Just wanted to add a few little touches to our base, like some of these larger storage containers for the planks and wood and stuff. Now to go hunt down some creatures to peep, or find some molars to grab. Not a little bug to peep, but it's another milk molar. There was also a golden one that we could glide down to. We're stacking up our power. Day 78, and I made it my mission to go and try and peep some more creatures. We made our way over to where the haze used to be, and I managed to peep an infected gnat. Constantly made sure to check our creature cards and look for new areas to explore, like this big ominous spider cave thing. This is where we fight a really scary boss. But we won't do this for quite a while as we're not quite prepared just yet.
After seeing the infected broodmother's boss lair, I was inspired to go fight a boss that I could probably actually beat, and that boss is located just inside this plant pot right here. Yes, I'm looking for something that we can pick up that will give us the recipe so we could summon this boss in. It wasn't inside the pot, but maybe it's in the pot next door. I did a little bit of research online and I found out we're nowhere near it.
That really sucks.
You see, the recipe that we need is inside this lab near the stump, located right about here. Every other recipe was always located right near the boss fighting arena. I just figured it was there. This one's really far away. Since we're already over at the stump, I figured we'll tick off some things from our list. There was one thing that required us to get all the way up to the top. It was just a little bit hard to get up there, so I took advantage of the photo mode to try and get a good idea on how to get up here. We finally made it up and were able to peep this one creature, the moth. This thing was damn hard to find, but I'm sure it's got some pretty decent parts we could rip off its body. I also didn't realize it had this type of attack that would push you off the edge. Whoa! That's okay though, because we have a sour axe, and it does not like sour stuff. Straight away I went to analyze the parts we had gotten, and we didn't learn anything. I then came back to base to craft some more of these crafting things that we need multiples of, and move some things around. Place some shelves right here so that we could move a lot of our boxes to underneath it and stack them up to kind of make this a lot neater. Then in the center of our base, we'll place some more of these crafting benches. Day 80, and this might seem a little strange, but trust me, it's not. But we're over fighting the broodmother. We actually need to fight this lady a bunch of times. Why, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. You see, before we can fight the mantis boss in that pot plant on the shed, we need a bunch of broodmother chunks so that we can make the food to be able to summon in the mantis. And I plan on fighting the mantis a few times, so we might as well just keep farming the broodmother for quite a bit.
Is that the last one?
Yep. We only took about 4 or 5 foods to be able to fight the broodmother, so this is all we got. Then to finish off the day, we went to go see the fire ant queen. And this is where we did things a little bit different. I gave her the poison toe jam sandwich.
Yeah. Eat that, you little freaking fire ant. All your little minions have been destroying my life. You are now gonna die.
She died, which unlocked a plethora of items behind her. Oh, and we could take her body parts. This may have caused a little bit of a problem later on when we're trying to 100% this. Day 81, we are prepared and ready to fight the mantis boss. So I quickly adjust my mutation loadout to make sure I can actually defeat this thing. Feed this thing the orchard mantis kebab, and the mantis appears. I'm using the salt Morningstar as it should be the most effective against this mantis. And so far, it's showing to be pretty good. But as we've learned in other boss fights, there's different phases, and you know that it can get harder. I can't forget to peep it as well. We're here, it has 1/3 of its health left, and this is where the fight really began.
Ooh, that attack hurts. Wait, are you kind of easy? Yo, the fact that it doesn't summon anything in, super handy. Ooh, okay, no, your phases are a bit rough. Okay, this phase hurts. This phase really hurts. You have bleed damage, huh? Okay, noted.
You're dead. After defeating the mantis, we had unlocked the Apex Predator mutation, which gives us a buff to weapons that we make from the bosses, making us the Apex Predator. Moving on, we came here quite prepared to fight the mantis multiple times. After we had defeated it once, we kind of knew its patterns, so it became a little bit easier to defeat multiple times. It's kind of like dancing. Once you have the routine down, well, it becomes easier to remember each time. After defeating the mantis multiple times, we went to the undershed once again to farm more of these scarabs. We come back once they respawn every couple of days or so just to collect more, as we plan on upgrading a bunch of our weapons and stuff back at base. Time's starting to get a little bit ahead of us, and we have a lot to do before we 100% this game. We've currently filled out a lot of the peeping, but we still have a couple little odds and ends that we need to complete. Day 82, and I made myself a new set of armor. I made the full set of this mantis armor. I wanted to try something out that's a little bit cool looking. I mean, it does kind of give a Mardi Gras theme feel, but in some ways it's kind of cool. But most importantly, is it effective out in the wild? It does give us what's called the Cutsman's buff, which I assume if we cut things, it does more damage, like swords and stuff. Little daggers is definitely way more effective than they were previously. And I believe it's more of the assassin's type build. Its defense kind of sucks though. Maybe I should have upgraded it a bit first. I mean, we will give it a second chance. It is kind of cool. I could definitely see this armor being quite useful in certain circumstances, but I don't know if it's for me. So that's why on day 83, we switched back to the broodmother armor and went out to gather some rust from these rusty nails. I don't quite remember why I needed all of this rust, but I'm sure there's a good reason. Either way, today was just about collecting a bunch of resources for some stuff, filling our bags up with as many things as we can gather. We even managed to get some rust from this old wheelbarrow. Then we were notified that there was a milk molar nearby. I had to discover where that was. And apparently it was up on this wheelbarrow somewhere. I just had no idea how to get up there. But it looks like we got to do a little bit of parkour up these vines, which is one thing I hate.
I do not enjoy doing parkour stuff at all. Figuring out how to get all the way over to the wheelbarrow was kind of tricky, and this took us a really long time. This parkour trip even led on to the very next day, but we did manage to eventually get over to the wheelbarrow. But was it that simple? Not quite. We still had to get over up onto this thing, and knowing my luck, this would be where we fell. We just made it over. We managed to get the milk molar and discover another field station. But that milk molar wasn't exactly the one we were after. There's one more right down here, but if I miss this shot, well, we're gonna have to do that parkour all over again. Thank the shrunken lords that we got it. From here, there was another location we needed to get to be able to get another milk molar. It was found within this aluminium ladder right here, and this was really only the beginning of our milk molar hunt for the day. I literally just hunted down milk molars the entire day, making sure we were as strong as possible before we could take on the other boss, the infected broodmother. But also, we need to collect every single one to be able to 100% this game. Day 85, I was going through all of my extra data things that I need to collect to see what else I was missing. We had actually collected quite a bit of things, but we're missing some sights and wonders that we need to go and discover, and a few scabbies, which we managed to pick up right here, whilst also discovering the 4-leaf clover location. With only 15 days remaining, I wanted to make sure maneuvering around the map was going to be a little bit easier and quicker. And as we already know, zip lines just come in clutch. So I set this one up at the south of the map, near the sandbox. Then I went and discovered a new location where I could also find another milk molar. Look, that's pretty much all we did for the rest of this day, milk molar hunting. Not just the big teeth ones, but also some stuck behind some vines underneath this lab. Day 86 and we're back in the undershed, down here searching every crook and crescent for any items that we may have missed to be able to 100% the game. Like this molar in the Black Widow cave, and then a bunch more molars that we could find. I made sure to collect every single one down here so we didn't have to return for milk molars anymore. Then I went into the lab because I needed to collect these as well, figurines. I hadn't been collecting them, so this is going to be a little bit of a stretch to collect all of them that I need to collect. Whilst we've been out collecting a whole bunch of milk molars and all the other little gadgets, I've been making a bunch of these mushroom bricks. Now you might be wondering why I've gathered all of these mushroom bricks. Well, it's quite simple. I had discovered a new strategy on how to defeat these things. I had trouble in the past, but now we have a solution to that. If we just build up some walls around them to protect them from all the insects that come in, we have a much better chance of completing these mixers. And it's kind of like a tower defense game inside of Grounded. Shout out to the community that played Grounded that gave me this idea. And to top things off, we are a lot stronger than we had been in the past, so defeating some of these infected creatures is so much quicker and easier. Wolf spider? Nope, not scared of that bad boy. Tanky infected ladybug? It goes down with ease. And just like that, we had completed this mixer overdrive with 0 damage to the mixer itself. I'm also not going to leave these walls up. All of these resources are very valuable to hold on to. This is also when I realized I'm quite stupid. I was trying somehow to figure out how to claim my reward. It says I get 2,500 raw science, and I couldn't figure it out until I realized that the big yellow glowing thing is the raw science. After successfully clearing that mixer, well, the very next day we went to the sandbox to complete the mixer there. No surprise here, but our only enemy were antlions. A little bit tougher to defeat than the little bugs from earlier, but the walls held up nicely against them, and they didn't appear in overwhelming waves. So defeating this was quite easy. Also, since we're all the way in the sandbox, I wanted to go and collect something that was up on this plant pot right here. Yes, indeed, it was a golden molar. Again, we were quite close to the trash can at the bottom of the map, and there was another thing we had to come down here to collect. To try and save time for the future, it's kind of just easier to try and do things whilst we're in that area. And this one was a little bit of a hike. If you're wondering what that thing is, well, you guessed right. It is a milk molar. Later that day, we find ourselves ziplining to the other side of the yard. Yes, to go and complete another mixer. This one we had failed before, so it was kind of broken, so we need to repair it first. Then, just like we did earlier, we place down all of these walls and begin the battle. Using this strategy to complete these mixers has become so much easier and better for us. It's a smart strategy. I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier. Like, nothing has gotten through yet. So far, we've been completing these mixers with ease. But to be fair, I do believe they're gonna probably get a little bit harder later on. I mean, we're still in the lower yard. Again, whilst we're in these areas, we're gonna try and pick up everything that we can, like this scabby amongst these bushes. And yet another milk molar. Day 88, we're in the upper yard and we're trying to complete this super mixer. It's like a normal mixer, but it's super.
I think it's just harder. And it certainly is harder. You'll see why in a moment. We started off only fighting these little ticks, which really isn't too much of an issue. But one thing I didn't account for was these tiger mosquitoes coming in. You see, they can fly straight over the walls and attack the mixer. I didn't account for that. At times they did try attacking the walls, even though they could fly over them, so that kind of helped. But as I was trying to deal with the skies, I got stuck in these walls that I built, which then gave a bunch of time for the ticks to get through, and we were so close to completing this. Then they knocked down all the walls, only for our toughest enemy to arrive with a bunch of mosquitoes. It was all over from here. I tried to defend them, but I just couldn't. We lost this super mixer. It kind of sucked, but it was a lesson well learned. We just need to make sure that we build these walls even stronger and tougher, adding way more layers of protection. I just made sure to build this like a maze and layer them up, and always have a place that I could jump up onto so that I could get out at any time. Let's try this for a second time. Again, like the previous time, the ticks come in and they're pretty easy to deal with, but I missed a couple that came straight to our base, and the tiger mosquitoes were getting in already. I might have tougher walls, but the tiger mosquitoes got in, and we inevitably failed. I need to come up with a different plan, and I'm pretty sure I have one. It just requires a whole bunch of these pine cone pieces. What is that plan exactly? Well, it's roofs. We're gonna put some roofs over it, and hopefully these protect it from the mosquitoes. It's a little bit scuffed, but it should do the job, I hope. I don't know, we'll soon find out. We've been going at this for quite a while, and this time I'm not going to try and travel too far away from the actual mixer. My plan was to get rid of the tiger mosquitoes as quick as possible and hope that the walls will hold up against the ticks. The tip of the roof had already been taken out by the mosquitoes, so I quickly replaced it. Then I got down to take care of the ticks that were trying to get in. I would run around and repair these walls as quick as possible, but my repair tool was starting to break. As I was putting up some new walls, the final wave began. The big stink bug came in alongside a whole wave of tiger mosquitoes. I just needed to hold them off for a little bit longer. Our roof was holding out. I just wanted to stay by the roof so nothing could get through and let the stink bug do its thing. We were so close to completing this. Once I was confident that the mosquitoes were gone, I raced in to kill the big stink bug, and we had completed the super mixer successfully, gaining ourselves 5,000 raw science. Day 89, I purely focused on these mixers. We'd learned a lot of tough lessons from our previous mixers, so I was kind of confident on taking these ones on. As you may have noticed, we now have a new weapon, the Minty Club, and these fire ants definitely don't like mint. Our first super mixer was done for the day, although very stressful. We then moved on to another mixer that was underneath the lawnmower. It seems like all of the mixers in the top yard were all like super mixers. I was kind of a little bit more hopeful on this one, but I didn't expect some tiger mosquitoes to come and attack us before we even started the mixer. And I learned to just try and make as many of these walls as possible, especially if we're only fighting ground type creatures, which in theory was going to be a lot easier, but they do swarm in large packs. I don't know how I would have ever done this without being able to put these walls up. If anyone's ever completed this without putting walls up, you're a top G. But also in saying that, we completed another super mixer, and the ants that were there, well, they just went away. They don't want none of this smoke no more. I then traveled across some hot coals to get to the very next mixer. This one wasn't a super mixer, so hopefully it's a bit easier. I also placed some rooftops on top of it as well, just because there's lots of blades of grass around. Figured this could keep the bugs away as well. I don't know if this was a good idea or not, but I wanted to keep this rooftop up here as well because I needed a shooting platform, since it would also get some flying mosquitoes come into this fight. I'm not completely sure if this was a good idea or not, but we'll soon find out. The mosquitoes were kind of wrecking my roofs, and they did get access to the mixer, but for the most part we were able to fend them off. Having the roof platform up here, I feel like it maybe left the mosquitoes to just keep the aggro on me, and they didn't attack the mixer at all. And we completed the very last mixer, signaled by the Steam achievement that we just gotten. Time is starting to move past quickly, and we only have 10 days remaining until the very end of this challenge. So we couldn't wait around anymore, we needed to keep moving. Using the same strategy as the super mixers, we set up some walls around these electrical wires. We're going to have to defend these against some waves of bugs eventually, but I kind of started to run out of mushroom bricks. We're going to need to make some more. That's okay though, because we did have some things we could do to keep ourselves busy. There is still a couple milk molars that we need to collect. Milk molars and scabbies keep us busy quite a lot. Day 91 and day 92, my goal was clear. Collect milk molars. A lot of them. Oh, and I managed to pick up a scabby or two along the way as well.
Got it.
Day 93, we were still collecting milk molars, but also preparing for the big boss fight to come. And getting some more toenails, because disgusting. Well, really, I wanted to finally make this toenail scimitar. Day 94, I made this roly-poly helmet, upgraded it a whole bunch, and switched out a whole bunch of gear. This was the gear that they recommend that we use to be able to fight our next boss, the hardest boss in Grounded. I knew to expect that this boss was going to be extremely difficult, but I didn't know what we're going to be in for. We'd been working really hard getting enough molars and increasing our skill levels, but hopefully it'll work. I guess there's only one way to find out. Boss, the infected broodmother. Oh crap. This is creepy. We begin this fight against this grotesque, speedy creature. We begin to do a ton of damage at the beginning, but I'm also well aware that this is just the easy phase. We got the infected broodmother's health down quite a bit, and I was kind of concerned that this was a lot easier than I had expected.
Am I wrong? I could be wrong.
And then I killed it. Well, so I thought. This is when the difficulty ramped up a lot. It kept healing itself, and I don't know how or why it was happening.
Whoa, this is a tough fight. Oh.
I switched out to a different weapon and kept attacking. It was starting to work a little bit better.
Okay, the mint mace is doing good. Oh yeah. I peeped her. I don't know if that was smart or not, but I did.
This fight was brutal, and I was starting to get a little stuck. That was until we started doing some actual damage and getting it down to half health.
We're finally chipping away at her health.
We battled relentlessly trying to kill it, but it would heal up just a little bit, and we'd have to just keep fighting.
Come on, almost there. Please don't be another phase after this. Yes. Did we win? I don't think we won.
When she got up again, her health meter was way higher than it was previously. And it was in this phase that I really started to struggle. She would be messing me up. I'd do a tiny bit of damage, but she'd just heal herself up, and I couldn't keep up. And she has this charge move that's super dangerous. That eventually killed me. I had to go back to the drawing board and figure out how I'm supposed to defeat this boss. But for now, I needed to gather a bunch more resources so I could make some more healing items and make them as best as possible, like these muscle sprouts. It's now day 95 and we still have quite a few things left to do before we can actually finish this 100% 100 days challenge, which includes actually defeating the infected broodmother. Now this time, I've done a little bit of research and I'm pretty sure I know exactly what I was doing wrong in the last fight. I'd upgraded my armor and weapons a little bit more and made sure to bring an ample amount of health smoothies. By timing our attacks right, we were able to kill its first phase.
Alright, wake up, lady.
In the very next phase, whenever she drops these bomb things and then this big cloud of smoke, well, that is what can heal her. We have to make sure we keep moving, healing ourselves, and if you time your block right, you can get a perfect parry off.
Come on, we're about to go into phase 3. Let's go!
Second phase now complete. We now move on to the hardest phase of all.
Yes, you're so predictable.
Indeed, I now have an idea of what her type of attack patterns are. I was starting to feel a lot more confident, as you can tell, but I couldn't let up. This could be over at any point. This being the hardest phase, the infected broodmother is a lot faster than it was and jumps around a lot. We want to do all that we can to stop it from being able to heal up.
Oh, crap. Ouch.
And avoid getting hit by bombs ourselves. Under a quarter of its health remain. Can we defeat this infected broodmother? Or will we go down ourselves? At this point, I was extremely locked in. I needed to defeat this broodmother. I needed to defeat this infected broodmother. I knew this was my chance to attack, so I struck as hard as I possibly could. Its health was at its last little slither. I struck and I ended its life.
We beat it.
We can now finally move on with our life, defeating all the bosses in Grounded. But our challenge is still not complete. There's still a few more burgle quests that we need to complete, and the main quest, which requires us to look after these power lines while they get attacked eventually. So I began setting up a bunch of these walls to defend them, which was a bit of a long and tedious grind if you ask me. But with only 5 days remaining in this challenge, I need to make sure we get this right the first time. Day 96, I placed down some of these traps around our fortifications, as I'm going to need all the help I can get as we're trying to defend multiple things at once. I also learned that there was a scabby on top of this coffee thing. I had to grab it. But then it was time to begin the ultimate mixer challenge. I stood at the top waiting for the first wave to come. When it arrived, it was time to fight. This was stressful. Ants would appear all over the place. Not long after, some fireflies appeared. This is the first time we've ever had to encounter fireflies at a defense. Thankfully, so far, nothing has gotten through any of our fortifications, and the waves haven't been too big. And then we saw a rhino beetle. There might not be a lot of them, but one of these guys can do a ton of damage to our walls. I'm glad I've fully upgraded my own character, and a lot of our weapons are pretty high tier. We're almost at the end of this defense, and the difficulty starts ramping up. Bombardier beetles were fighting us, more rhino beetles, and even the ladybirds. Our walls have been holding up. I am grateful. We had basically cleared everything out, so I went up to the top here again just to keep a lookout for anything that might get through. Then we went into a cutscene. And I believe we have now charged up this little battery thing, which is supposed to make us big again. So I go and collect it.
Excellent.
And we had pretty much finished the entire game. We had to come and revisit this machine that we came to at the very start of this game. Place in this embiggening cell, have a quick chat with Dr. Wendell Tully, then press this button. Psych, there was something else I needed to do before I got big again. I wanted to come over to this little tunnel that we found earlier. Remember, this is a 100% challenge, so we need to collect everything that we can find in this place.
Quantum toaster?
This is called the Quantum Toaster.
Remixer. Yes. We completed all of Burgle's quest. Yes.
And it's in here we can get this last scabby
There it is.
that we needed to collect.
Is it the final one?
I went and checked all of my data to make sure that we had collected
Creature cards,
everything.
We've completed all the creature cards except for that one, but apparently does not count. Apparently. All of the report. We gotta go to the haze.
Yeah, we were missing a few little odds and ends that I
Okay.
kind of forgot about. They were pretty easy to get our hands on, so I went to go collect them.
Oh, there is.
So many things are in places that I'd never even thought to look.
Oh my god.
And it's crazy because I probably walked past them a whole bunch.
That's the last one. The very last scabby.
Like, we went past this aluminium can a bunch of times and I never looked inside. We should now have completed absolutely everything. And it's time to get big again.
It's time.
"96 days in, a bunch of creatures killed. We've done so damn well."
What?
Props to you.
No!
We had not completed our challenge, so I had to reload the save, and we need to finish this within the next 4 days. I just need to figure out exactly what we're missing, because I have no idea at this point.
Something I'm missing. What am I missing?
I was worried that it could have been that one baby ant that I didn't peep because I killed the Fire Queen ant. Then I saw it might have been the statues that we hadn't collected, but when I was doing the research for this video, it said that the statues didn't count. Either way, my goal was to go and collect all the
Yeah.
statues from all over the
Hey.
place.
Man figurine. There it is. There it is. There's the koi fish. Okay, so maybe I hope it's the statues. If it's the baby ant, I'm so screwed, bro. Yeah. Weevil statue. We've done all the things. We can open this. Hey. Bunch of loot. And the Yoko statue around here. There he is.
We had now collected all the statues. Will this give us 100%?
Come on, 98 days, yes. No!
Props to you.
2 more days remain in this challenge. Can we complete it? I am getting nervous and I'm running out of ideas. I don't know what else there is to collect. I had read something about these recipes that we might need to get, but they didn't appear on the data list. Like, they're there, but usually there's like a 1 out of 7 or a 5 out of 10 type of thing. Like, they're just kind of there. I don't know how many I'm supposed to collect. I used some online lists to try and help us collect them and went around to go hunt them down. Was this enough for us to get that 100% score? Nope, we go again. After a bit more reading online, I think I'd figured out our problem. I needed to collect some items from these dead skeletons. Recon journals to be specific. Looking back, this actually makes quite a bit of sense. But again, I just didn't know I needed to collect more because there wasn't like a limit of things I needed to collect. This isn't one of those things, but I made sure to pick up this hastily written note as well.
Hastily written note. We got the hastily written note. All right. Come on, baby. Yes, we did it. We did it. Super win. 100%, baby. Indeed, getting that Steam achievement down the bottom right signifies we have now hit 100%. 99 days. We were so close. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, peace.